Yeah. Yes, nawakaribisha show yetu siku ya leo. Welcome. So I hope you have a nice day. Today I'm not having a lot of issues. Leo tu ni kudiscuss haraka haraka and then we leave the show. Yeah. So I hope umeshinda vizuri and I hope that you feel obliged to come here and have a discussion with us because you love your nation. Sababu nimeanzia kuona watu ni kama wanapata uoga. People should not get worried. Let's just become vivid, clear and know that it is possible to defeat Ruto. So tuache uoga, whether ana mobilize watu wengi uko Ukambani, he is giving some people money there. There is hope. I know that Ukambani people are clever than what is happening. Kuna mtu aliniambia ati ndovu hawezi zikwa na pembe zake, itabidi watu wangoe, and I hope that is the dialogue. So that's what I wanted. So I hope Ukambani they will forget Ruto, but it looks like Kenya is going to become a very poor country because all this hii pesa yote inatumika surely is very frustrating, and I'm double sure hii mambo yote inafanyika tu ni taxpayers money. It's one of the frustrating thing which can happen to a sovereign nation, having a careless president. Having a careless president is one of the most, is a travesty actually, is a travesty, having a careless president. Maybe to begin, because I don't want to bother people, and I also don't want to kill down your morale and motivation to support this channel. And through talks with so many people, some of the people who support this channel, we have agreed no more raising of funds in this channel. Hatutawahi changisha tena. So please, if you feel you have a need and you want help, look for ways and look for other means of help. We will not be able to help again here because I don't want to tarnish the credibility of this platform because of what is happening. And this is something which I want to say here, and I want to say it here with a lot of humility. I am going to dissolve all the groups which we have been having. I'm dissolving all of them, all WhatsApp groups. I'm dissolving all of them because it is very unfortunate the things which are happening. So, me na dissolve groups zote. We will not have those groups again because it is very unfortunate. People are misusing others, and I don't want we start forming Kahoot. Somebody has even told me that kuna uwezekano hata we could even be, sisemi ati watu wafai kusaidiwa, lakini hata watu ya UDO wanaweza kuwa nakuja hapa and they want to try and misuse us or do other things. So it's unfortunate. Our kindness has been taken casually. I don't want to see people being misused when it comes to finances. I don't want us to become a prey of syndicates. So until some of the groups where and I needed to say this, na nimesema hii kitu lazima niseme because it is very unfortunate what is happening. Tunatengeneza groups, then wengine wetu wanaenda kutafuta wengine to solicit money from them through either kunaweza kuwa kumetokezea issues, sikatai, there could be some genuine issue of help, but let's not try to overreach people and trying to reach for help from those people. Hata kama kuna shida, it is very wrong what we are doing, because I thought this is a platform for politics. It is not a charity we are running. It is not an NGO we are running. So please, wale watu wanakuja, and I have to say this one very categorically, because personally I hate corruption. We have to be role examples, and I will hate to see people misusing others, and we are saying we are crusaders of good morals. Na niweke kamera ili muone hiyo. We cannot be crusaders of good morals and the things which are happening. No, and I don't need to say, but things are happening in WhatsApp group. Things are happening. Watu wanapigia wengine wakiitisha pesa. We have to stop those habits. Na kama lazima uombe mtu pesa, there must be some relationship umedevelop na huyo mtu, lakini sio ati you are calling somebody and you are explaining a problem to that person ili huyo mtu aanzie kukutumia pesa. Let's stop misusing. It is very wrong. It is very wrong what is happening. Watu wanapigia wengine, somebody is calling, like for example, and this is what is happening. Let me give an example. You simply because you know somebody, kuna mtu wako Marekani pahali, somebody is in Maryland. Mtu tu anapigia tu mtu Maryland, alafu you start explaining to them issues, and then inakuwa ni cycle. The same person calls another, the same person calls another. It is very unfair. So this is a political platform, and I will not raise funds for people again. And it is unfortunate that that decision had to be made. It's unfortunate that decision had to be made, unfortunately. So please, because I don't want to make the wrong story short, tafadhali, if you listen to this channel, even if somebody calls you akiitisha mchango, akikuomba pesa, don't give them. Na ukiwapea, just give them because you want. But don't say that because people have started misusing others. Na tuache hiyo story. And there is something which I want to say here. It doesn't mean that simply because people in Europe or Asia or the countries which are perceived to be more economically good, it doesn't mean that those people are inherently having money. So there is that perception of our brothers and sisters who are in Kenya, who are inherently thinking that people in the US and the Europe and or maybe Asia, they inherently have money and they want to misuse them. I will not allow that to happen in my platform. It will not happen. I'm a very transparent person. I don't want somebody to misuse another when it comes to finance. Yes, people can have genuine issues, but there is an approach ya kuombana pesa. Hata huko nyumbani tunakopananga pesa, hata mimi ukopa pesa, naombanga watu pesa, lakini I do not start calling people I don't know to ask for money. There must be, and I think I have to start teaching people some of these things now. You cannot call somebody anonymously and you start asking them for money. And if it is an appeal for money, it must be a well-packaged appeal yenye inaeleweka. But this idea whereby Some of our brothers and sisters, they are calling others and soliciting for money. Please, that behavior has to stop. It is very wrong. Ni vitu zimetendeka, and I have to say, otherwise there's no way in which we can say we are serious crusaders. We hate what Ruto is doing, because to be honest, somebody has told me something, and evil people will come here and they start doing bad things because of that cadre. So, to cut the long story short, we will never find anyone here. So, hata ile maneno tulikuwa and I'm sorry to say this, we had said we will also help politicians from this platform. We will not do it. Wewe kama unataka kusaidia msimamo, reach to him, reach out on your own volition, help them. Wewe kama unataka kusaidia Kalonzo Musyoka, reach out to them. I don't want to be a syndicate of people misusing others. If you want to do any help, reach out to each other voluntarily and in a genuine version. But I don't want history ni kama watu like watu wanajifichania hivi ama like it's a sababu na hao watu wanajulikana, like it's a syndicate, like specific people who call others. Alafu unasikia kama like unasikia example like people discussing, wanasema hata mimi nimepigiwa. It is not good. It is not good. Pesa yombanangu tu hivi. You cannot just unajua hata kama even if we are in an online platform, I have to start saying these things now. Even if we are in an online platform hapa, hatujuani. We don't know each other. Maybe munaweza kuwa munanijua hapa because occasionally nawekanga video yangu wako, lakini hatujuani. So there's an idea whereby you don't know me, we have a group where hata kama tunaongeanga that we are posting vitu ya siasa, and then you are starting to reach out to somebody to you synonymously hivi, and you are starting to ask them money. We will convert a very good cause into a useless cause. We will not do that again. So please, in a very genuine way, because I don't know, I want to retain the moral consciousness of what we came here to do. So wewe kama unataka msaada, look for other avenues. It's unfortunate to look for other avenues. And we have to say this now. You know, I am a very honest person. We have to say this. We are reaching out to Pogon. Somebody brought very disturbing information here. And Pogon will have to explain to us why, if he is not the one, why majina inaweza fanana. We are getting a person with the same names of Pogon. And we are not saying we can help a case. I have to say, we can help. Maybe there is an issue somewhere. We can help a case, katai, tunaweza musaidia. But I feel very bad if what we are getting is what is happening. I don't know. I will need Pogon to verify to us if those names are his, because I don't want to mislead people. We can help people, whichever the case. Either the details which we are getting, ni case ya 2018. 2018, we didn't have Gen Z. Gen Zs were in 2024. I have been soliciting for money here on a reason that he got issues during Gen Z. Until that information is lined up, I will not agree to fund for him, because I don't fund, or I would distance myself from giving forceful information about. Yes, Pogon has issues, I understand, but I will not support issues which have not been explained well. He has issues. I will help him on the personal grounds, but I don't want to put the channel on that. But it was wrong to give I don't know. We are still investigating. We have to do investigations, and I will bring the investigation here. If it happens, he gave us details of a case which happened in 2018, and then it was given into pretext of 2024. He will have to come and seek apology here because it's very wrong. We can help somebody. Hata angekuja hapa atuambie niko na shida ya 2018 munisaidie. People are ready to help. People are ready to help. We can help. But I cannot help based on lies. And I don't want to put people based on lies. So until that information is rectified, any funding, we had even said we could even do a fund drive here. It is suspended. And we will not do those things again. So we are verifying that. I don't know how true it is. Wakenya wanaweza kuwa. I even found a Kenyan with 3 names like mine. So I don't say that it can happen. But we are getting a person with 3 names of him. And there is a case which does not align. So Bwana Pogon, please help us on that. Clear out. So sijui unasema aje? So huyo ni Monica Gatundu ana. No, I'm saying that, and even people who want to give help, they are investigating these things. Watu wanafuatilia mambo. And information is already there. So let's forget the issues of Pogon. Issue ya Pogon hiyo we have suspended for now. But ile mimi issue niko nayo ni history ya watu kupigiana masimu. So unless people will stop me, those groups I understated, you can leave them at your own volition. Unless, if not that, I will go and update in those groups that we will only be talking politics again alone. And we don't want to do fad driving. If there is a fad driving, we know how fad driving are done. There must be a channel of fad driving, a fad drive and Arambe somehow. Lakini this fad drive whereby unatafuta namba ya mtu kwa simu alafu unapigia huyo mtu simu, we will not do that again. And please don't respond to somebody who synonymously just they are calling you. Mimi sisemi ati musisaidiane, but these things are becoming too much. And they are from individual people, from specific people. Ni watu specific ambao wanapigia wengine. And I'm getting this information. And when these people are told to come and to reach out to me so that I can do a formal appeal here, they don't want. They don't want. Wanaambua ni sawa basi, ni sawa nimesikia hiyo story yako, lakini siufanye hivi, siwaambie Njiro hiyo story yako ili tuone vile tunaweza kusaidia. They don't want that. Sasa, so please tuache kusumbua wengine. It is not fair. It is not fair. People are going through a lot everywhere in the group. See, it's not that people are settled everywhere. There are issues. So let's be tolerant to each other. Mimi sijasema musisaidiane, lakini mujue vile mutasaidiana. Musaidiane based on friendships and maybe if there is an extended appeal somewhere. But hii mambo ambayo inatendeka hapa is like people are misusing others because unapigia huyu, unapigia Ann, unaomba Ann pesa. Alafu unatoka kwa Ann unakuja unapigia nani, unamuomba pesa. Then after 3 months the cycle repeats again. Those issues are not good, please. Tafadhali. So you have destroyed a very good cause because of stupidity. Poleni. Tumeharibu kitu mzuri sana. Sasa hata mtu angepata genuine help hatapata. Hiyo ndio inakuanga mtu mmoja ndiye anaribianga wengine. We could have helped so many people, lakini sasa unaona sasa mtu mmoja sasa ameharibu all because I don't want people to blame us that we misled them. We can help people. We can, but we will not help people out of lies. That one I cannot. I believe in truthfulness. And if you speak the truth, people can help you. we have no problem. We can even help issues of 2001 before Kibaki became a president, but only if we are told the truth. Lakini sio ati you marinate a story for us, you try to catch a thing for us so that you can bring out emotions from people. It will not happen. So we will not do that. It is we either become serious or we drop out of this platform. So there's no need of holding a platform where we are lying to each other. So which morals are we building? Why should we be fighting Ruto and we have no morals? Why should we be fighting Ruto and we are thieves? We are no. That is why I always say things here, and I will say always be a moral beacon. Usiambie hata mtoto wako afanye ile kitu unajua hata mwenyewe huwezi fanya. It doesn't end up. So only become a moral beacon if you can do the same. And these things, it doesn't. We can do this. We can be honorable citizens. So please, I will not come here and say that we are on the same front to tunachapa Ruto, and some of us here have banned banners. You are a corrupt man. You are not a good person. You are a liar. You are not a diligent. So we cannot become crusaders of others, and we are not crusaders. We are not crusaders of ourselves. It doesn't end up. So we must be renewed and be reformed by our thinking. So haiwezekani ati sisi we are here criticizing others and our character is not good. We cannot be criticizing others and our character is not good. So I'm not very happy about that. So tukae hivyo sasa, watu wasaidiane kulingana na vile wanajuana sasa. No more fad drive here. So let me see what people are saying. So mambo anasema ati si ati kumeharibika. I was just trying to reinforce something, and it's good to reinforce. You know, we have to put the house in order. So now you understand why Ruto lies to voters. Mr. Njiro Mora, you are speaking the truth. Beggary spirit is not of God. Everyone should work to eat. Refuse to be misused in diaspora. God bless. Okay, we're a millionaire GB. Very crooked thoughts, Musyoka, not leader. So now I understand. So Musyoka, no, Musyoka, we are not saying let me I want to iron out that issue about diaspora have money. I don't know if Bwana Musyoka, you know something which is called maybe you might not know it in the Kenyan context, but in America there is something they call paycheck to paycheck, whereby you are given your pay now. That check you use it to survive. You have to wait for the next check. And the majority of people in diaspora, their pay is tied to bills. Akona insurance ya gari, akona hii, kuna monthly rent hapo. So like everything is tied to bills to the extent that they will even rarely have money to save. Yeah, they might have good life because they can eat, they have cars, they have what, but they are barely affording life. But not that they are having extra money, which actually they can rent to people. And some of them, they are also having kids who they are educating and doing other things. So that perception that diaspora, they have money, but their money is also subjected to a different lifestyle. The American lifestyle is not the lifestyle of Kenya. There are some dynamics. How an employed person uses his money in America is different with on how an employed person uses his money in Kenya. And also the dependency ratio. I understand the people in diaspora, they do a lot of remittances in Kenya. They do a lot of sending in Kenya. it is not that they do sending of money. And this is now something I want to, and this is something I think I would have to come and teach people here. Diaspora people do not send money in Kenya because they have. Unajua nikisema hiyo statement, kuna mtu ataanzia kusema, Njiru, what are you saying? People in diaspora do not send money to the country, to Kenya, because they have. They send money because they are supporting a life system somewhere. So wewe unaona, I better sacrifice my money, nisaidie mtu wako na mashida. Like, they will send money to churches. They will send money to help their parents. There is somebody with a hospital bill, a family member they are helping. There is a family member who doesn't have school fees they have to pay. But they are doing it out of sacrifice. Saa zingine hata anasema, wacha nisimamishe some of my bills which I'm doing hivi, nijumuike hapa, nishughulike hapa. I don't know if somebody, so Bwana Musyoka, I think you have a very wrong perspective of how people in diaspora use their money. You will be shocked. People are migrating from the US, like they have stayed here for 30 years and they have no investment, they have no saving. Somebody has a mortgage he is paying. I'm just giving you a normal way, sababu si ati hapa Marekani si ati mtu anajenga, sio kama kwetu unajenga. So get a job, after some time uko kwa mortgage. Mortgage inachukua like mortgage maybe ichukue like half of your paycheck. You have not gone to Walmart. You have not gone to Costco. You have not gone to Target to do huyu mtu ajaendea pombe, yule anakunywa pombe, mwingine ajaendea wine. You have not fueled your car. Oh my God. So anyway, diaspora people will help, but it is out of sheer heart. It is because you feel I need to help somewhere. And I wish our people in Kenya, they would also have that heart anyway. Some of those who make more money, whichever the money they make, pia wao wakuwa unaangalia ni wapi unaweza shughulika pia. Because it doesn't mean that the only people who are supposed to be generous are people in America and the people in Europe. Those are the ones who are supposed. They are not generous because they have money. You know, and it is something which I think it is a culture which it's a Western culture of giving. It's a Western culture where they give, because like naonanga like people donate things a lot. Watu wana donate chakula, what? Kama sasa in the churches I always see people donating food, and it's a culture. It's a Western culture of donation. So it is something which like even Africans who are here, they have been indoctrinated in a nice way to help also. So see ati it's a Western culture, hiyo story ya kusaidia. So it's a Western culture. I don't know, like sisi in Africa, we have also adopted the same culture. I don't know. So wacha nisikie comment za watu kabla niwaingize kwa Ruto. So please, let's not be like Ruto. Let's become good stewards, honorable people who can be relied upon, and we will be able to do a serious thing. So we can do this thing. So, and they sacrifice. I wish they knew how we get our money, and our bills are cut from Kikingi, and trying to save and a flat land in the US is not the same as Kenya. We are trying to invest back home and covering our families. Yes, I wish people can actually understand that diaspora haki, you should use your judgment before you click. You should use your judgment before you click that third button. Musyoka is giving you the Kenyan mindset. Oh my God. I don't know why even this issue has come here. I'm not saying that what are diaspora, because I know there are people who genuinely need help. But it is not that you are giving money because you have. People have to start knowing this. You are giving money out of sheer sacrifice. Unasema hata vitu zingine sitaki kufanya. Wengine hata wanasema I don't want to eat beef this month. wacha hiyo nyama ningekula hii mwezi, wacha wakule ikulo huko Kenya. Anyway, today anybody who asks for money, my answer is are sounding no without reason. Winter you have to heat the house, yes, that is electricity. Hiyo ni bill electricity. Or have pneumonia. Kenya, it's 2 bills, water. Anyway, mimi si ati, I'm not trying to advocate ati watu wakuwe wagumu na pesa, but we have also to be appreciative na pia tujue ya kwamba even these people who are sharing the little money they have with us, it is not that because they have money, ni sababu Mungu amewaweka hiyo jukumu ya kufanya hiyo. So let's not like castigate these people and we start now saying that hata pengine maybe mtu akomale. I had until I migrated in America, that is the time I was able to understand this reality. I used to have relatives who have lived here in America for 20 years and they had not come home for holidays. Hadi tukua huyu hata alitutupa, alituchukia, hata hakujangi. Little did we come to know that that relative of ours, he couldn't be able to raise enough money to return back home. Yes, sasa hata alikuwa ashafanya judgment, mimi nitakaa Marekani, ile siku nitakufa ndio mwili italetwa nyumbani. I don't know if people are aware that there are some Americans who have already, there are some Kenyans who are in America who have already made that decision. Sijui kama bwana Mwamba, siwaambie watu hapa. Kuna mtu amesema haya, mimi nikikufa tu musafirishe mwili. That person cannot even afford fare to take him back home. Tu ile tu pesa anaona tu ni ile tu pesa anakula huku na kufanya tu mambo yake kidogo, story inaisha. I had a relative personally, this one tell you, I had a relative who had stayed in America for 30 years without coming home. He came here in America in 1971. 1971 and the year is 2001 ama 2002. Hapo ndio tunaongea story ya huyo mzee wetu. Tunasema sijui nini alituchukia. Hadi akasaulika, watoto wamezaliwa hawamjui. Mimi nilizaliwa siku anamjua because I was, by the time I'm being born, the guy is in America. Najai kuja na watu nyumbani wanaongea vibaya sana, huyo mtu alituchukia, tupei kitu. Until sasa I have given the story of that man. Heyo mkasema hadi watu wakamuuliza, sasa hadi watu wakaanza kuuliza tumchangie akuje. Ni sawa, budi wewe kuja kwa show kama unataka kukuja, is okay. Tumchangie akuja. So that's what like hey, people could understand ati hezi pata fare. Anyway, Mr. Ruto is in Ukambani and hard things are happening there. So I don't know how you judge about it. I have seen big crowds there, lakini tuliambua jana ni meguongo, na uwezi zika mtu na uwezi zika kitu na meguongo. Meguongo ni ivory. Yeah, I appreciate so there is also some news I also wanted to say here, and I don't know, I have to say here, there was an open threat to Gachagua from Embu, where a guy by the name Gekundo, hata mkienda kwa Facebook mnaweza ona anajitanga, ukienda kwa Facebook a guy called Gekundo wa Gekundo, who had threatened, wakiwa na some other guys who had threatened Gachagua, and they had said that Gachagua akienda Embu kufanya hiyo campaign ya huyo jamaa wa DP next week, I think that's when he has started to go. They said they had actually insisted that they will kill him. Ile tu watu wanatokezea tu kwa social media, they are saying that they will kill Gachagua akijaribu kwenda huko Embu. I think there are some guys who are being misused by Ruto. Then incidentally, from what I heard, nikasikia ni kama like the guy ni kama alikuanga amepewa kazi na Mbarire, but nasikia ni kama wamemfuta haraka to avoid the issues. So wamemfuta na wakaweka gazette notice ati ya kusema ati that guy does not work in the office of the governor. But I'm now hearing Embu governor is being misused by Ruto administration, na sijui huyu mama maneno ya UDA ilimfika wapi, like she is also vicious, ni kama like wanajaribu like using force, like ni kama wanataka wapendwe kwa fujo. So the governor in Embu is like has resorted into goon livelihood. Na so ndio nilikuwa nikisema sasa, and I will say it here, modern campaign has changed. So kama kuna mtu anajua Gachagua hapa, na nitasema mimi, nitaanzia kusema hizi vitu hadharani. Hii maneno ya open campaign in vehicles itabidi waache. They will have to start to look for a good security. Unaona historia ya kusimama kwa gari na watu wamekuzingira hapo, something will happen in Kenya. Something bad will happen in Kenya. I'm seeing, and this is something and I will say it here, and I will say it without fear of doubt. Na hii kitu nitasema hapa, kuna mtu atapigwa risasi Kenya, and we better prevent it before it happens. Kuna watu wanapanga hizo vitu. Mtu ataenda open air, unaongelea pale juu kwa gari. That thing already happened in Japan. Hivi vitu najua ni kusambaa, inasambaa. The former prime minister of Japan aliuawa na mtu akiwa kwa campaign rally. Charikaki in America aliuawa pahali akiongelesha watu. And it will happen in Kenya. So we have to start now having a way of how you can talk to crowd, na kukue na watu, na kukue na kizingiro fulani. This idea whereby you are talking na watu wamekuzingira hapo, I don't know, even if you wear a bulletproof, I don't know if you can, because unajua human beings have become evil. Unasikia sasa kama au ni majamaa Embu alikuwa anasema Gachagua akienda Embu atamuua. And don't take that threat casually. So what I'm saying, Gachagua moving forward, and all our opposition, including hata nimesikia like I've also heard some news that hata kuna watu wamepanga kupoison Kalonzo Musyoka. I don't know if mumesikia vitu, or even if that story is coming from a pastor. Kenya is not now the safe country which we used to talk before. Without even mimi sitaki kusema kile kilitendekea hayati mzee Raila Odinga, but hiyo opposition hao watu wetu sita, I'm not saying that they are the most serious people to help us remove Ruto, but we have to guard them because they are the only people who can approach the seat of power. They are the only people who can approach the seat of power. Na hawa watu lazima tujue sasa vile they need now to have a conventional campaign. Sio hii campaign sasa ya kienyeji, because wanapangiwa. Mimi nastaki tukuje kuanzia kulia hapa tukisema I wish we knew we could have done more measures. We have already lost Raila Odinga. Unajua hii kitu kuna vile wanatembea, and you know, Bwana Budi, we have to start talking this thing. There is a syndicate to kill serious voices in Kenya. People might say that I'm alluding, but tumesema pia hii channel yetu we also allow hallucinations. I could be hallucinating, but there is a syndicate to kill serious voices in Kenya so that we are left helpless. Ruto anataka sasa tuachwe sisi tukue hatuna hata candidate. I want to tell you, if they can manage, wanaweza hata angusha watatu. So those guys have to be serious. They have to advance their campaign methods, and they have to advance their approach of interaction. Hata hii ujinga ya kuenda State House itabidi waache. They have now to become serious. Kenya sasa ile level tumefika, we have now to put boundaries and have enmities when it comes to politics. Otherwise, we will not achieve what we want to achieve. Anyway, Budi, go ahead.
Siku nyingi. I will go back.
Yes.
Ulikuwa unasema there was a topic before politics would go on. I wanted to know what precipitated that. Why did you go that conservative route?
Sorry, I didn't hear, ni kama ulikuwa unakatika kidogo. Say again, niambie nisikia.
Ulikuwa umeanza na you are alluding that maneno ya kusaidia nini? What's going on? What made you go to that route?
Oh, ile kitu imenifanya niende hiyo route Bwana Mbudi ni, first of all, I received complaints from some people that we have WhatsApp group and there are some specific people wanapigia wengine in a schedule wakiomba msaada. Do you understand? Na hata hawajuani. Like you are in a WhatsApp, like we have let me give an example. We have a WhatsApp group called Kenyan Democracy. Just like this same channel here. Mtu anaenda huko simply because anaonanga Budi akicontribute hapa, akiongea hapa, they just call you synonymously. No, not synonymously, anonymously, and they start soliciting funds from you. Then after soliciting funds from you, they also call another person and they call another person. Then kumbe hawa watu ambao wanapigiwa masimu somehow pia na wao wanaongeanga, and during their discussions those are some of the things which are emanating. And then so one of them pia anasema nimepigiwa mara mbili ama tatu by the same person. It's like a sequence. So ndio nilikuwa nikijaribu kusema sasa. So Bwana Budi, I did not say it in a bad way that we cannot help each other, but this idea whereby if it is like once one person, I couldn't have taken this long time to explain. Lakini it is specific people going around different people, na si ati tunajuana vizuri hapa. Budi hata unajua, by the way, and I'm sorry to say this, we are very good here in this channel here. Can you claim you know me?
No, I don't know.
So now can you imagine how would you take if I call you 3 times asking for money?
We addressed this issue before and we said, it's not a new thing. I think during last election, before last election, about 2 years ago, we normalized something called pesa ya Wi-Fi, pesa ya kuenda sijui Marsabit, pesa ya nini, and we ended up in a very bad situation. I remember we used to receive pesa, tulichanga mpaka pesa ya studio nini, mpaka tukaingia vitu ati pesa ya TV, and it ended up bringing us into some sort of enmity whereby there was no accountability, so on and so forth, and it broke people's trust. So that's why I said last time, if somebody has a problem, let them bring it here in a structured way. I mean, let not everybody solicit help privately, and if you feel you're being harassed, or we to a group, I mean, blacklist. Just saying some people, some elements, that does not help. Just say we have one person here and say their name. I mean, there's no question. Why do you have fear to name names? Because there was a time. I karibu keep anipige last time when I say tulitumiwa mpaka picha uchi. Ilileta shida sana mpaka tukadanganya watu wamefukuzwa nyumba sijui nini. Ilituletea shida sana, by the way, when eventually we started saying no, this must stop. My friend, tuliitwa majina nyingi sana which did not make some of us very happy, because that thing was like a syndicate, and it went on for a very long time. But in short is, if such kind of culprit is known, name them out, take them out of the group, and period. Because That is not right. However, I'll say we've been able to help each other in different circles privately. I've been able to be helped privately by individuals during a very difficult time, and there are people I've also helped during very difficult times. And we came together and we were able, in a structured way, we call each other, we make sure whatever we are helping is being investigated, and not only investigated, it's a cause that obviously is good for the individual. So we cannot put philanthropy away from that. Sisi ni watu wa Nyayo na Harambee. That's how we are where we are today. But then again, we should not use that as a weapon, to use on our personal levels. I personally have gotten a lot of, on a personal level, a lot of, attacks in regard to one or two, three things. And if you realize, I'm not even in the Kenyan democracy, but what I'll say is we cannot go to that conservative level that sisi tumewacha. No, we cannot. Tumesaidiana matanga hapa, tumesaidiana watu wakikuwa wagonjwa, tumesaidiana watu wakigo through difficult times. And I think there is no nobler cause than doing that, more especially when we are building a group like this. But done it correctly, it's progressive. Done it wrongly, without a structure, it is very destructive. It can bring a lot. So if you know a culprit like that, bring him on board and say ABCD. Let him not be the reason why tomorrow Musimamo will truly have a problem and then we end up looking back and say, you know what? This is what we concluded. No, as human beings, we cannot conclude like that. If there are victims here who ambao wamekuwa called pesa, come up and tell us, this and this and this. I remember there was a case we resolved with Mtembei one particular time. I will not name the name. One guy went, conned people, and I think PK knows about that case very well. By the time we're coming to know, he had done it in the US for about 5 people, gone to Australia, done for 2 people, gone to UK, done to 1 person, and he was on his way to Japan. In a very short span, the guy had made almost like 700,000. And we had to stop it. Totally. We had to talk, speak the name, and the very culprit alipelekanga Stone PK mpaka Kitale, sijui kumuonyesha shamba. Stone karibu hata yeye aumie on that particular incident. And because we named it, some people came out of the snook, okay? And we were able to help tons of people, only to come and realize the guy was never even an MDS the way he was telling us. So the issue is not to say, some people. No, that does not help. With clarity, name their names, say, this and this is happening, and I don't think it is right for this reason. We will take them out of our group because I don't think, because the relationship we have, as you said, is emotional equity. We have known each other here for so long, but we don't know each. Tukionana face to face, we'll be even tutashanga, huyu ndio ule, huyu ndio yule. So the only person we have seen here is Roma and Mato, as a friend. For the rest of you, I don't know, But there are people who we are very close in terms of friendship, like PK, like Mama Mary, people we talk, like PK. PK is a very good friend of mine. We used to speak. We haven't spoken for a long time, but he's a person. If we have family issues, he will vouch for me no matter what. Okay. So we encourage relationships that are progressive. We find somebody like Njeru, I know, is a very giving person. Somebody like Njeru is a very giving person who can be able to help somebody in times of need. So, but she should not be taken advantage of. So if we have culprits among us, just name them. That does not mean people should not build relationship that precedes politics. In the end of the day, we are networking here. not only in terms of if well and good Alex na Ani wakipatana waoane hakuna shida, but it's not based on Njiru, you know, that's up to them. But mkianza maneno yenu, don't bring it to Njiru like you have been taken advantage by Njiru. Njiru had nothing to do with it, you know. So I'm just giving an example. I don't even know Annie. I just like calling her my political sweetheart, but she's not. But I don't even know where she is, by the way. So I'm just saying that Tusiende you're very conservative. But if somebody among us truly has a problem, and we are and it's a problem that we know all of us have investigated and we have a concrete evidence, we should not take that route and not be able to help them just because another individual did what we deem unethical. Asante here.
Okay. Nimesikia, that is the subject to discussion in future. So I for now nitatulia kidogo. Let's handle politics, and I think there is a lot we need to do with this geomeandering ya Ruto. We cannot just manage to do circus, because let me tell you, bwana Alex Budi, kuna kitu nimeambiwa na nimekubali. Somebody said that and I'm sorry to say this. Somebody said that and I'm not saying that even like a Ruto supporter or a Ruto more should not be helped. But somebody told me that if we continue in this trajectory, even a more will come here na tuanzie tu kuwachangia tu. I'm not saying that they should not be helped, but there is a way, and then it will go out of order, and now even veer off the axis of the real politics which we are doing. This is what I will suggest. If you need help, do it on a personal initiative. Make a group, talk with the people, the ones you want to talk with. If they get convinced, wakuchangie. But I don't want to, we go to the level of, we are making this platform to be a crusader for somebody. Let's not do that. Yes, somebody can have a genuine request, but they have ways of getting us. If you want to get me and you want to help me, nipigie simu, convince me, I can do it. If you want Stony PK, there is a way of getting Stony PK. Call him, convince him. Na then pia isikue ni mutindo, umepigia Stony PK June, then tunamaliza miezi ingine 3 unampigia tena with another story. Those are the things which bwana Bundi, we will not entertain. We don't want also people to be misused. That's what we are calling misuse. Yeah, people can be asked. Unajua, even in my village there is something we call ndoki. Kuna wamama wanapenda kuitana sana. Story sijui kama unajua hii. Kuna wamama wanapenda kuitana. Yani unaniita January, tukua hatujapumzika, unaniita June, then hata unasikia kusema yani unaniita, yani because unajua hata hii madhoki we usually do them like ni kama ni vitu ya mzunguko, so like hatutaki pia hadi unasikia sasa even there are some women who have been labeled mtumione mweta ni mono, yani huyu mama anapenda kuitana sana. So if you can go ahead and you tell us what is happening in the ground.
Thank you, Njiru and Alex. Long time, and good to see you. Nimeingia ukiongea juu ya kuombwa That's what I would call it in the very simple language. Tunaogopa kuombwa, ama kuna watu wanaomba sana na watu wanaomba wanafanya unaomba na una shida. For me, I look at it as a challenge of the social network. It is only that now amplified because we have this modern technology of social media. Kwa sababu sasa ingekuwa hakuna, in the absence of that, people would really people only ask for mtu kama mmekutana. But now, because it's a global village and even worse than a global village because of social media, now people meet on YouTube, on WhatsApp and this kind of discussions we are having. This is what we would say the consequences of having a wider or a broader connection or broader net. You know, you get to know unlimited number of people. Unakuta uko kwa WhatsApp group kama tano, you know, alafu uko kwa vipindi kama hizi. Some of us are in almost how many? 2, 3, 4, 5. And then over time you develop a relationship mpaka inakuwa ni kama you feel each other, you know. And then of course knowing our African nature, it's that of giving. I know wazungu hawana hii shida tuko nayo, because for them unaniomba aje, you know, hata kama ni ndugu yako sister yako, it's difficult. So for us this is a thing we need to deal with it. And I think we only need to actually not deal but manage it, you know. Manage by doing exactly what Bundi has said, that, you know, kuna genuine cases, kuna when I feel like Alex can help me or Njiru can help me, then you extend your request and that kind of a thing. We should be able to have the feelers of an abuse, you know, just like the way Njiru umesema, uko kwa village watu wana feelers, wana kunotice. Uliitana January, sasa tena umeitana March, na unaitana na version tofauti tofauti. Mara ilikuwa ni fees, alafu mara kuna chai, huko village siku hizi machai ni mingi sana, you know, washajua hata birthday. Kuna ingine tena of course this is personal. Kuna ingine inaitangwa kwenda kuchiokia ngano, kwenda kurudisha shukurani kwa church. Ati sasa umekuwa 50 years, then you organize a mega, you harass everyone, you know, everybody you know, both outside in the village, because there is a day you are going to your church to inaitwa nini hiyo, Thanksgiving. Unaenda kuthank God for being there and for all that, or any achievement that you feel you have had. I mean you have as a result of your faith and all that. All these are, to me, there was a forum I dubbed them. I told them these are fundraisers, okay, whichever way you want to call it, yeah. And so it's upon these people who are being approached to make their judgment. You know, yeah, una nini to usiwe under duress, usiwe under duress, na kusiwe mtu ati sasa because I introduced you to Njiru, now you take advantage, alafu now nikuwe blamed. No, friends introduce each other, you build a net. So it is upon these friends, like I know uko nyumbani, before you ask for somebody akupatie pesa, hata kukopa yenyewe, then you go through a lot of soul searching. Unaumia, inaumiza by the way, unless kuna wale perpetual wa kuombaomba, but genuine people, to tell you the truth, it is not a good feeling. People don't beg, or rather they don't borrow because it's something nice or sweet. Yeah, but of course we have, just like we have con men, we have genuine people and those who are not genuine. And yeah, Njiro, you have made a good clarification. You know, the perception that people out there in abroad wako na mti wanatingiza inamwaga pesa, yani mti inaitwa mpesa. That also, as we are the ones who should continue to educate our folks, like the way you've explained it is very, 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 very clear, you know. But again, there are some of us who have that kind of who create that impression, like pesa huku inamwagika kama snow. So we in such forums we need to also kind of tell people, and also when people ask you watu wakiongea hivyo wakisema hivyo, tuna educate without being arrogant. Waambia tu ni kujinyima tu, only that of course the opportunities here is not comparable to uko home. Unajua uko home unaweza amka asubuhi na una ene na una anywhere, okay. Huku if you have no anywhere, wewe ni kukufa tu. So huku una survive when you have a way or something like that. So basically, yes, you can kuokolea mtu from when you are from here nyumbani. It's very, let me say it's easy, because hata nikitumia mtu $10 ama hata 5, mtu ambaye for example ameenda kutafuta kibarua yake akaambiwa hakuna, those of us who grew when there were these vibaruas, watu walikuwa wanaenda industrial area, and I was shocked, and before I left I realized that had diminished. So someone ameamka ameenda inda na unajua ametembea mguu, ama si siku hizi ni anywhere, akakosa hiyo, hata labda ni fundi, and fundis are paid per day. Sasa ameenda ameambiwa na contractor, hapana, leo nimereduce namba ya mafundi, nataka 2 tu, hao wengine 5 endeni nyumbani. So such a guy, na unajua ana family, and you may have such very, very dire cases. So I'm just asking that we don't throw a blanket closure to this. We still remain social, and again, it is voluntary. Hakuna mtu analazimishwa. So if you feel philanthropic, hakuna, see, it's not bad. Only that it is good to actually sometimes assess these cases, and it's good when individuals approach individuals, then individuals make individual judgments, and that way we can do that. Towards December and towards 2020, towards next year, there will be a lot of these kind of things, requests here and there. So it's a matter of just weighing. Unaona, hii I can support this, I can support this. Yeah, and the fact that utaniomba nikwambie sina, usichukulie mbaya, yeah, that's what I have to say, because again, by the way, what I know personally, I know humanity is in the giving. Maybe because that's my profession. So I don't believe, I don't feel when I'm able to help, it is just that. Of course, there are people who don't know. Like I have a friend, alikuwa anauliza, is very arrogant. Anyway, let me not even say vile anaongeaga, but akiongea hivyo, hata kama amepatia kitu utamrudishia haraka sana. And that's him. So yeah, let's treat it on a case by case, on a relationship by relationship. Yes, we have built relationships. By the way, some of these relationships are now so strong, despite people even having not met physically. And as I've just said, it's now the world of internet. So there's one program I like watching so much. The presenter likes calling people, hey, people of internet. Alitafuta jina ya kuita hawa watu wakaona hiyo ndio jina, which is true. It's the people of the internet. And you may be friends for so long. Na itakuwa muonani, because if you are in Australia na mtu ako Canada, alafu when anaenda nyumbani, anaenda holiday yake ni tofauti na yako, you might go for even the rest of the life bila ever meeting, but you build relationship, you even partner in things. I know people who I know guys in the diaspora who have partnered and invested so heavily back home, na wanasema those who have met each other they are less than 10%, which means 90% of them hawajawahi kukutana hivyo ile physically. Wakifanya get together unapata ni 40% ndio wako pamoja at that particular time, you know. So yeah, so let's continue embracing our socialism and philanthropic nature. Yeah, because all these things we are talking about, the siasa we are talking about, we will need to call on each other. Like the other day, we had a pay bill for Caris because, of course, this hii kitu ni ngumu, ni ngumu, and you need and Ururu from here and there, you know. The politics in Kenya today, you will not even have you know, people meet you, you talk to them for 10 minutes, ukiabla umalize unauliza sasa mdosi unatuachaje? Eh? Hapo una cough 1000 nne tano sita hapo, you know. So it's the way our society has been cultured. I mean, but I think we could be able to know that if people get empowered. I am happy I saw that in Kibaki's time. Harambee is reduced kabisa. I think there are no Harambee. Or I don't know. I don't think, you know, there was so much pressure because when people are empowered, watu wana pesa hapa na pale, hiyo burden inakuja inakuwa. But as of now, saa hii Kenya ni mbaya mbovu. So tusiblame hao watu wana nini. Thank you very much for that on that topic. Wacha niachie hapo Njiru.
Njiru, wacha niseme kitu ni toke niende. Siasa nayo nilisema we will talk later on because siasa I said mpaka wakati wake. Two things. If you are contacting somebody you don't know and they tell you that obviously that please on this I am uncomfortable, wachana. If you contact somebody that your proximity is not close, na wakukatashe, wachana. Don't insist. And at least get to know somebody before you go to financial issues. I mean, before anything happened, some of us, we had to know each other for a while. But let's be careful that we don't instigate others because they don't belong to our tribe. If it was our tribe, we could have been better off. We could have treated them with not so much suspicion. I know what I'm saying is going to hurt to other people. However, let's be sensitive on that because all of us, we live under one economy in Kenya that is very difficult. And that is why we are fighting to be empowered. So let's treat each other in equal terms, not too much suspicion. Asante. Yeah, Njiru, I don't know if you are there. You know, me, I emphasize that if you contact me once or twice and you know that I'm not that type of, don't go out and say, you know, Nania Saidi, what Nania Saidi. People have been battered here, people have been bruised here, people have been taken advantage of to a point that they don't know how to deal with such issues. And that's why we said, let's have a structure, central structure that is able to help us. If we cannot have a central structure, it becomes difficult. But when you go to a personal inbox ya mtu and you're soliciting help and you've never spoken even one day, it is really sad.
Yeah. So Alex, those are the things zile ambazo tunasema at least watu at least develop a relationship develop a relationship with somebody, alafu sasa hiyo relationship ukidevelop maybe mnaanzia sasa kuombana. Lakini sasa hii historia anonymous tu wewe Francis, na watu wamenipigia simu sana, wameniambia wameniambia ubadilike. So napata ripoti mingi sana, and people told me that wewe na Stone PK mushikane ati jana muri ati you went overboard. Stone PK, that's a small review nimepata kutoka kwa watu, especially hapo kando ya video kidogo, anambia hadi one of my better brother hadi akaniambia Stone PK yaradhokete ati omonde. Stone, you know what that means, huh? Kuna mtu hajaisikia ukuwe umedhoka hivyo. You decided to be wow. And naona pia Musimamo ameingia. So by the way, there are people who have developed relationship, like I know, like Musimamo and the Keep, they have developed a very good relationship. Maybe Musimamo, you can explain to us your relationship yako na Keep. Ili sasa people can also learn, like you can have a relationship with somebody and na mnaanzia kuendelea to the extent I think even Keep was even able to recruit you to chama ya mama, ama namna gani bwana Musimamo? Si tuambie relationship ili watu wajue how to build relationship and how you can win each other, kuliko sasa tu ile tu na unaingia tu kwa mtu tu mara moja tu hivi tu alafu and you start now shooting messages which are not very good. Go ahead Musimamo.
Asanteni. Kwanza shukrani zangu ndugu yangu PK, kaka yangu hapa Alex na wale ambao wako comment section. Kitu ambacho mimi naweza nikakizungumza hapa ni kwamba mahusiano mazuri, kuaminiana, kunategemea nyote both two parties. Tunaweza kuwa hatujaonana, tumekaa tu hapa, lakini sasa kuna kule kuaminiana, na kuaminiana kunakuja hivi: unaomba hela sawa, unaomba pesa sawa, lakini ukumbuke pia kwamba huyo unayemuomba pia na shida zake. So itategemea kwanza hizi hela zile unaomba kuna shida gani vile, umejielezaje kuhusiana na shida husika. Isiwe ni mtindo kwamba sasa umetega ni kitega uchumi. Una kazi zingine, kazi yako ni kutega uchumi, ukikosa lawama, msaada. Ukishazungumza ukumbuke kuna vitu viwili hapo lazima ukae navyo, kupata ama kukosa, na vyote ni ushukuru. Mimi ni msimu wangu una design yangu, kwa wale ambao tunamtract na wao vizuri wananielewa msimamo, kwa sababu mimi huwa najieleza wazi, na hivyo ndivyo vilivyokuwa, na ndio maana tumeanzia hapo na kitu polepole mpaka sasa tumefikia hatua kwamba tunafanya makubwa aswa ground huko, tukiwa na ndugu yangu Kipu aswa katika chama chetu cha PLP. Tumeanza jambo ambalo lina msingi, linaelezeka kiasi kwamba huyu mtu anakutumia support, but anaelewa kwamba hii support kweli hakika nimetuma, but imefanya ABCD. Hii pesa yangu kweli nimeituma, lakini una kuna jambo hili na hili na hili ambalo limefanya. At least hapo una kitu ambacho huyu anayekusaidia pia unamtia moyo. Lakini sasa Kenya hii tumejaribu kutengeneza mahusiano, ukijua kwamba unatengeneza hiyo ndio platform, kwamba hii ndio njia pekee sasa hivi ya kujipatia pesa. Jamaa wako majuu wanazo. Mtu kuwa majuu si shida, naweza kuwa majuu lakini ana shida zake pia binafsi, kuna mambo yake binafsi. So lazima uangalie kote kote, ubalance kote kote. Mimi nashukuru, sitasema uongo hapa, mimi nimesaidiwa na mengi tu na wengi tu kutoka diaspora, wengi tu, lakini ni kutokana na jinsi ambavyo mimi naeleza vitu vyangu na viatu. Huwa naweka vitu vyangu wazi, na huwa nina shida kweli kweli, si kwamba labda tu nakaa from nowhere tu nijizungumzia. Huwa najua kuna shida, niko na shida kweli kweli, na if nimekosa sawa, nikipata sawa, whoever feels amenisaidia sawa, hutaniona nikiblame, kwa sababu lengo langu la kuja hapa kwenye hii platform ni kujifunza, lakini vile vile pia nashukuru mimi kama binafsi, kama msimamo hapa, nahisi nimepata ndugu, ninao ndugu, lakini ni ndugu ambao ni wa mama, aidha mama mkubwa, mama mdogo, but to me, mimi tu peke yangu kama msimamo, upande wa baba hasoma kwa mama. So hapa nimetengeza kama ndugu. Pili, nimekuwa hapa kama mahali pekee ambapo naweza nikatoa mawazo yangu na pia kujifundisha jinsi ya siasa ilivyo. So siwezi hapa nikaharibu kitu changu kitunjia paka kisha nikitua kuku nshindwe. So siwezi tengeneza mahusiano hapa kiasi kwamba nimekuwa sasa ni njia ya kuvuna hela za wenzangu hapa kutoka mali. Mimi naishi maisha yangu yako wazi for those ambao nimeshare na wao. So whoever feels mtu namsaidia msimamo, ananisaidia na roho yake moja. So hivyo ndio ambavyo naweza nikadumisha, lakini si mfungo tulionao Kenya hapa kwamba sawa, unavuna, unatafuta maneno, unavuna yani unaharibia wengine ambao wana shida kweli kweli, kutakiwa kusaidiwa kwa sababu ya wachache ambao wameweza kuharibu hii mahusiano. But for real, to me, tumeanza hivi vitu na kitu muda mrefu tu, na kitu kaa tuna hii plan since before. Wakati tumefika tumeimplement, nao inafanya kazi vizuri, keep is doing his best on his side, na mimi pia huku nami pia kuna kitu ambacho nakifanya ambacho huwa na share na wengi tu hapa ambao tuko hapa kwa hii platform. Ni kitu kinaonekana, ni kitu kinahitaji kweli support haswa, but siwezi pia kilazimishia lazima Alex nipe support yako, pike nipe support yako. Nitaeleza, whoever feels atanisaidia, kwa sababu najua kwamba kikianza hivyo, mwisho wa siku kishika kasi, kila mtu atakipendezwa nacho, basi support itajileta tu yenyewe, lakini sitalazimisha lazima au mtoe maneno ya kejeli au matusi au lawama au kuchukua jina la huyu kulitaja huku. Hapa Usamu waliniweza kunipromise mambo mengi tu, na sijawauliza wewe bwana, mbona ulinipromise kitu fulani, mbona hujanifanyia? Hapana. Kwa hiyo mimi naweza nikawaambia wale ambao wako hapa, tusichukulie ndugu zetu ambao wako kule juu, especially sisi ambao tuko hapa Kenya, kwamba walio juu tu wao wana hela za kuchezea. Kila mtu hela ana uchungu nayo, kila mtu hela ana mipango nayo, kila mtu ana sababu ya kwenda kuitafuta hela. Kwa hivyo ukipawa shukuru, ukikosa shukuru, na usivunje mahusiano yako kwa sababu ukisa umenyimwa hela. Usimtukane mtu kwa sababu umenyimwa hela. Usimsimange mtu na kumsengenya mtu mali ingine kwa sababu umekosa kupewa hela ama support. Support ni feeling ya mtu, kama alivyozungumza kakaangu Alex hapa kwamba tuko hapa tunakutana tu kama ndugu hapa, lakini hatujawahi kuonana uso kwa uso, na kama watu wachache ambao waweza kukutana hapa kwenye hii platform live, but kuna ile kwamba tumekuwa na muda mrefu imekaa kama ndugu, so tunashare vitu vyetu kwa pamoja hapa, lakini siwe ni mtindo wa kwamba lazima kwa sababu hawa jamaa na hela bwana, roho mbaya tu. Roho mbaya na wewe mwenyewe, kwa sababu wewe kitambo mlaumu mwenzako kwamba hafai. Wewe unayefaa umempa nini? So kujiuliza hiyo swali, utakuwa na heshima, hautaweza kulalamika mahali popote, kwa sababu haifai mimi nilaumu yeye Njiru hapo nikwambie Njiru hafai bwana, ili hali mimi ninayefaa sijakusaidia na lolote wewe. So hiyo ndio jinsi ambavyo naweza nikaongezea hapo, ndugu yangu Njiru na ndugu zangu hapo, kwamba ni kweli kwenye safari ya mamba kenge wapo, naelewa, but si kenge wote wala si mamba wote ambao wanaweza huko. So mkitengeneza hiyo platform yenu ambayo mnasema lazima mpime vigezo, ni sawa, utajua mbivu na mbichi, nani anafaa kweli kuwa na msaada wa kusaidiwa in case inahitajika kufanya hivyo. But to me na keep hapo ndipo tumeanzia. Sikuwa nacheza na kibu kwa ajili kwamba kipa na hela ama mimi kwa shida yangu basi nimeeleza kwamba this is the only platform ambao najipatia mapato yangu ya uongo. Mimi huwa nachangamka na dili zangu, nahangaika na miangoka yangu kulisha watoto wangu, but likija jambo la taifa ama likija jambo binafsi kama imenizidi, basi ndo nitaongea na ndugu, jamani, kuna hili na hili na hili ambalo limenifika shingoni na nitalieleza haswa, na either yule atanisupport well, habaya hata support mimi, utasikia hapa nimeweka chuki na mtu. Njiri, we are aware of this. Kakaangu Alex, we are aware of this. Mimi si mtu wa kulalamika wala kuvunja mahusiano yangu mazuri kwa sababu ya kitu hela, nimekosa hela, hapana. Hiyo ndo nature ya msimamo, na kutokana na uvumilivu huo na kuheshimu na kuzungumza kweli, ndio kumeniacha nimefika hiyo hatua ambayo kwa sasa hivi niko nayo. Kwa kile unakifanya ground ni support kutoka kwa kitu, but anaiona ile kitu ambayo inaifanya ground ni kitu ambayo inapendeza, ni kitu ambayo inatija, so hajutii kunipa hiyo support kwa sababu naweza account even na single cent ambayo ameweza kunitumia. Na mimi wanamwambia wazi, hii pesa umenipa kwa hii kazi yako, ama kwa hii kazi yetu, ama kwa hili lengo hili, wacha tuitengenezee hii kazi hii. Shida yangu achana nayo, iko pale pale, nitajua vile nitaihandle, kwa sababu hiyo ni shida yangu. Asante.
Okay, sawa. Wacha niweke videos kidogo. I want you see now. Nataka na msiseme kwa nini nimecheza hiyo video. Na nataka kuwekea hiyo video ili musikie sasa people are being sponsored to destroy majina ya watu wengine. So let me just kama imepotea. Okay, acha ni. Mnajua mimi sitawekea huyu beshte yenu. Nasikia alikuwa kwa TV leo, lakini mimi siwawekei. Just nilikuwa nimeona anyway. What I don't know is aya kidogo tu. I'm just looking for that video. Kuna video moja nilikuwa nimeona and I thought we can have it. Mbunga Isiro ni kama amefariki eh? Aya, wacha niwekee hii kidogo. Let me put this guy atusaidie kidogo.
Welcome to the Raja, the place where we speak nothing but the truth, a platform where we call a spade, and we do not sugarcoat anything. We say it as it is. We fear nobody as long as we know whatever we are speaking is the plain truth in the fight against corruption, in the fight against electoral injustice, in the fight against those who want to kill the democracy we have been enjoying for decades. The former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, accused the National Police Service of not listening to the cries of the people on the ground during this by-election period. And I want to warn Kenyans, where we are headed to in 2027, if we are not very careful, this is going to be the most dangerous election ever, even more dangerous than the 2007 general elections. The signs are very clear. It's us, the people, sisi wa Kenya. We call ourselves into a meeting, tujiite mkutano, and decide where we want our country to be tomorrow. It's a reality. Gachagua spoke. The United Democratic Alliance Party, kuna mambo inazungumza hapa. Let me read their press release before I proceed. This is what they're saying. They have released a press statement this morning, response to the panic-driven public statement by Rigathi Gachagua. We acknowledge your latest public outburst, packaged as a solemn letter to the Inspector General of Police. Foremost, the claims and allegations, as well as the names dropped in your letter, including the alleged close associates of UDA chairperson and Embu Governor H.E. Cecily Mbarire, as well as Cabinet Secretary Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, only exists in your pregnant imaginations. Strictly, the letter reads more like a satirical drama script, so miserably emaciated on facts and blotted on innuendo. Hey, you're desperate, diversionally offensive against the National Police Service and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, exposes the predictable floundering of a political personality whose career is apparently collapsing under the weight of a publicly documented history of misdeeds. The nation has a long memory of how before impeachment and after, you've routinely utilized abusive, insulting, and offensive language against leaders who have rejected your polarizing political rhetoric.
Whoa, man, amazing car. When did you become a millionaire?
What is this for?
We're trying to get advice for the younger generation.
I made my first million last year, actually.
What line of work are you in?
I'm in sales.
Okay, what's the best advice you can give someone that's in sales?
You're only as good as your sales reps and your CRM.
What CRM do you use?
We used to use one of the old legacy CRMs, but it just didn't give us the speed and agility that we needed. But then we switched to Monday CRM and sales started flying.
Why is the CRM so important?
Well, no specific CRM can make you a millionaire, but if you want to move fast in today's world, you need a CRM that doesn't hold you back. Monday CRM propels you forward. Instead of spending time messing around with old systems, you can invest in relationships, in cultivating leads, and in closing deals.
One last piece of advice for our viewers.
Make sure you have the right tools for your journey. If not, stop now, find the right CRM. For me, that's Monday CRM. Then move forward and nothing can stop you.
Thank you very much, sir.
No problem.
Your public record is exceedingly punctuated by a gruesome tally of political thuggery, violence, looting, and yes, the deeply embarrassing invasion and plunder of the ship of former Kenyan head of state, which remains a permanent emblem of your personal character. Hey. Ladies and gentlemen,
Sorry, I think that one is coming. Sijui siku hizi ni kwa nini Embu. Many of the things are emanating from Embu these days, especially because of na sijui huyo governor wa Embu ni nini anakula huko State House, andi inamfanya awezi sikia cha muadhini ama cha mteka maji. Sijui kama hajaisikia Orengo akisema sometimes the government eat their own children. Sijui kwa nini huyo governor wa Embu anafikiria ni kama wataishi kukua na power all the time. Does you know that there will be a time when itafika atakuwa anaitwa retiree? Yeah. Saa zingine watu wanaonanga pafupi sana. People see very near. So sad. People see very near. But anyway, ni sawa, we don't know. So I'm also hearing that Ruto responded to huyo pastor wa jana. Ruto responded to huyo pastor wa jana. So wacha niweke huyu Kionjuri, nataka musikie msimamo umesema wewe ni kazi, wacha niweke musikie tu like where things have now gone. Imeanzia kurudi. So
niä njikaraga Rift Valley na ithuĩ tũruonaga rũkiuma njora. Angĩkorwo nĩ woragire mũndũ 1992 rĩ, ndũkenda gũtwĩra ũmũthĩ ndũngĩũraga. Angĩkorwo nĩ wahũrire mũndũ hana ũkĩiya kĩndũ gĩake rĩ, 1995 rĩ, ũmũthĩ ũndũ kenda kũhenania ndũngĩiya indo cia mũndũ. Mũndũ agĩthiĩ kwaria erore. Niĩ ndiendaga gũcambania tondũ nĩ njũĩ no njambio na ndirĩ mwega mũno. Na nĩguo kũhithĩra tũmahia twakwa rĩ, reke njikare natuo na niĩ ndikathiĩ kũgumbũra mũndũ ũrĩkũ. Mũndũ ũrĩ karonda ainogĩra harĩ ihũgũ. Koguo ũgĩthiĩ kũrumana rĩ, nĩ tũgũkũririkania ciaku. Na nĩ gũkinya hĩndĩ ĩyo. Rita rĩrĩ no ũkĩ ũtwĩre tondũ tũrĩ arakaru, ũtwĩre ũhoro wa ng'ania, no ndũkariganĩrwo marakara nĩ mathiaga magĩkaga atĩa. Magĩthiraga na andũ mena history yaku. Ũmũthĩ ndũngiuga nĩ ũrũgaĩra andũ a Mount Kenya region na wĩna mĩaka 60 ndiĩ ndĩ ũraciarirwo. Ngũrie kĩũria, niĩ ndũire thirikari-inĩ, arĩa aingĩ nĩ moĩ Mwangi wa Kĩũnjũrĩ. Nginya thĩra igua gwathiagwo Hĩgi rĩ, Uhuru agĩtwarwo rĩ.
This guy is claiming that Gachagua ako na miaka 60, so afai kukua akiclaim ati amepigania Mount Kenya. Alianzia kuwapigania lini? So that is the new front of attack ile ambayo imefunguliwa na hawa. So he thinks na hiyo front iko na watu wengi. Hiyo front iko na huyo ni mwingine.
Jambo. I've been following this conversation.
Yeah. Na hawa watu sijui nani anawasponsor. Yani watu wamekuja wengi like and they are not talking about Ruto. Unajua ndio ile kitu inanishangaza like akina Kionjuri hao wote they are not talking about Ruto primary. Ni huyu tu Gachagua tu anaosha tu. Kila no one is talking about Ruto primary. Anyway, nimesikia Ruto amerespond to kwa yule pastor. Let's see also. Oh, ndio hii. Chaniweke. Hebu tusikie sasa vile Jamati amerespond. I hope ni yenyewe.
Machine learning is advancing, but businesses wonder if some machines can keep up.
Let's welcome our new coworker. Wa kanisa la Kianglikana upande wa Kisumu alishangaza waombolezaji, na hii ni baada ya kuamua kuingilia uongozi wa Rais William Ruto.
Dereva akiwa shetani. Na dereva akiwa shetani.
Alianza kwa kuuliza swali, je, jamii ya Wajaluo wako kweli ndani ya serikali ama ni kutumiwa wanatumiwa vibaya? Akimshambulia waziri John Mbadi na Opiyo Wandayi kwa kuwapotosha.
You know, there was a time it was all said that the Luos are very cheap people. Has your price gone higher now, or you are still just cheap as you were that time? Because when Opiyo Wandayi is made a CS and Mbadi is made a CS, you are all over how you are enjoying in this government.
Askofu Charles Onginyo akisema haiwezekani Wajaluo kudanganywa kwamba wako ndani ya serikali kwa sababu wamepewa mawaziri wawili na Raila kupewa mazishi ya kitaifa.
Yet our people are still suffering over things that they could get solutions over. And then what are you delivering by being there? Is there anything you are delivering? You have become a choir and a chorus. Then we have been cheated. A state funeral. Ruto has good meaning for us because he's giving our dead state funeral. When you die and you are given a state funeral, now everybody follows you because somebody has been given a state what? Ofo wanama.
Akiamua kuonyesha kinaya ya jinsi Wakikuyu inasemekana hawako ndani ya serikali na jinsi Wajaluo wanaambiwa wako ndani ya serikali.
You know, the irony is people from Mount Kenya have got 6 or 7 cabinet positions and over 6 PSS, and they're being treated as if they are in opposition. It is the Luos who are in the government. Who is mad in this arrangement? Maybe my mathematics is poor. Who is mad in this arrangement? I counted them the other day. There are about 8. The Mutahi Kagwis of this world, the Lee Kinyanjuis.
Naibu wa Rais Kithure Kindiki pia naye hakuachwa nyuma, kwani askofu wa kufurahisha na economic empowerment ambayo amekuwa akifanya kila wakati.
If you cannot pay people who have genuinely worked and then you are running with the choppers that you are doing empowerment my foot. Don't go in empowerment. Yule mtu wa soprano leo ako siji wapi, the next day ako somewhere because he's doing what? Anafanya nini? What kind of empowerment are you doing when genuine workers cannot be paid what legally belongs to them? We are in a sick nation. A very sick nation.
Aliendelea kukashifu serikali ya Rais William Ruto kwa kuua vijana wa kizazi cha Gen Z.
I don't think there is any government that has killed its people more than the Ruto government in the history of Kenya. Kok onego ji of stress to ji bedo abducted to kunwang kumodhiye. High cost of living. But our people have been hoodwinked. And anyway, they are singing songs that we don't understand. Dongenewa winyo ni Ruto no mayo Raila kura. Koze mache ni wuondo wawuona no komayo Raila kura. No, let us speak the truth. Then we have been cheated. A state funeral. Koro Ruto has good meaning for us because he's giving our dead state funeral. When you die and you are given a state funeral, now everybody follows you because somebody has been given a state what? Ofo wanama. Where are we headed to? Where are we headed to? Because the Bible says here that those who would be reckoned as righteous are those people who are taking care of the needy in the society. 40 children that Huntington was paying school fees for are now left homeless and hopeless. unless some miracle happens. And the Bible says that those who are reckoned righteous are those who are taking care of the needy, clothing the naked, feeding the hungry, visiting the sick, and providing for their needs. And the same means of livelihood is what is not viable, because we have a hungry government that is looking for any means of income so that they can fill their pockets. If you cannot pay people who have genuinely worked, and then you are running with the choppers that you are doing empowerment, my foot. Don't go in empowerment. Yule mtu wa Soprano, leo ako siji wapi, the next day ako somewhere because he's doing what? Anafanya nini? What kind of empowerment are you doing when genuine workers cannot be paid what legally belongs to them? We are in a sick nation, a very sick nation. Mnajua we're morone waweroga kawane choir about the world. I don't know whether this choir also sang it. Dereva akiwa shetani na dereva akiwa shetani mwisho wake.
Anyway, that was the most abrasive speech of our generation. Hiyo nayo bana, huyu jamaa alikuwa ameamua. It was very abrasive. I don't know if Ruto is going to recover from that. I don't think Ruto can recover from that. So that speech was epic. Yeah, msimamo, weka point ya mwisho tufunge kituo sasa.
Okay, asante kaka. Hiyo speech nimesikiza tangia jana, nimekaa nikisikiza kila mara, lakini huyu bwana huyu kiongozi pasa ulianza kupeleka pale Nyayo kwanza, alipoanza kuangusha hii bombshell machoni, na hii ndio kweli, huu ndio kweli, ingawaje tunasema huku pwani kwamba msema kweli ni mpenzi wa Mungu siku zote, lakini tukirudi katika vitabu vyetu vya Biblia, sema kweli uwekwe huru. Kwa hiyo aliyolifanya liko katika ndani haswa ya kitabu haswa cha Biblia. Amesema kweli yake na amewekwa huru, kuliko haswa wale waliowacheza mara ya kwanza hapa, wakiwa bado wanalaumu wengine ambao wamesimama kwenye kweli, lakini wanaikandamiza kweli hiyo kwa kuweza kuwakashifu. Huyu pasta amegonga ndipo wachache ambao kwa kweli wanahisi kwamba mambo yao hayataenda sawa, kwa sababu kivuli pekee kilichokuwa kimewaziba kimeondoka. Ndio wale ambao wanang'ang'ana upande ule wa pili kwamba sisi tuliachwa hapa, kwa usije tukabaki mayatima, angalau tubaki hapa. Unakuta wenye kelele hizi zote ni wale ambao tayari wanafaidi. Ndio maana mimi nasema siasa ya kuambiwa sisi watu wa hapa tumewapa PSS fulani, CSS wa fulani, nyinyi ni pati ya serikali. Kila mwananchi ni pati ya serikali, hakuna mtu ambaye si pati ya serikali kwa sababu yuko katika hili taifa. Hakuna mtu ambaye si pati wa hii serikali, kwa sababu serikali ni watu na watu ni wananchi. So kwenye kura ndio kunapimwa mizani, wale watakupigia watapatikana na wale ambao hawatakupigia kura watapatikana, lakini ukiibuka mshindi unaachana nayo hayo. Sasa unalitazama taifa at large, for those walikupigia na wale ambao hawajakupigia. Na tulipo ni wakati huo, kwamba si wakati tena kwamba labda dunia ni wa siasa, kwamba tunaingia kwenye uchaguzi. ni wakati wa kujenga taifa. Sasa ile kwamba mwananchi anadanganywa na wanasiasa wachache chini mashinani huku kwamba sasa sisi tunaweza kumshukuru kiongozi huyu kwa sababu katupa vyeo hivi katika serikali, kwa hiyo sisi ni jukumu ni sehemu mojawapo ya serikali. Huku ni kuwadanganya wananchi, kwa sababu ile kiatu kitakachomfinya wa Nyanza ndicho kitakachomfinya wa Pwani, ndicho kitakachomfinya wa Northeastern, wa Western and everywhere. So hii imekuwa ni lugha sasa ya kuweza kuambiwa haswa kwamba safari hii tumekumbuka si wa Pwani, ndio tumepata doketi kwa mara ya kwanza. Wizara hii hatukuwa tumeipata, for the first time tumepewa hii. Front unaongea pumba mbele ya wananchi wako, kwa sababu wewe unaingiza milioni mshahara kila mwezi. Familia yako ikiumana hapo, unaweza kuitoa katika hili taifa na kuipeleka taifa lingine na wakaendelea na maisha. Wakiume unaweza kumsafirisha mtu wako kumpeleka India, na wale ambao wako katika hili taifa na SHA haifanyi. So ni vizuri kuzungumza ukweli uwekwe huru. So huyu kiongozi kayafanya ya kiungu, najua atapigwa madongo. Kwa wale ambao hawapendi kusikia kweli, but kweli itabaki kuwa kweli daima na uongo utabaki kuwa uongo daima. Hata ujaribu kufunika uongo utakuwa uongo tu. Kwa hivyo nadhani hiyo bombshell si watu wa Nyanza tu, but ni kwa Wakenya wote. Tulipo je, pako salama? Ndio swala la kujiuliza. Na kama hapako salama, njia ni gani? Njia ni ya kumwambia ulie karibu na yeye, bwana we, hii kura yako hii sikupoteze maboya. Umeambiwa kuna mahali kunatolewa ABC, ndio unataka kukimbia huko lakini hii ndio utakao kuchochea hii. Kwa njia sahihi ndio hii. Hamasa kwa wale ambao wanatuzunguka popote pale tulipo. Maybe hii inaweza tusaidia wakati ukifika, tusijisahau, tukautafute ushindi, tukagombania ushindi. Kama utakuwa pengine umebanwa mahali, mpaka tuhakikishe kwamba ushindi huu tuko nao. Hilo ndio kubwa zaidi. Mimi nitaachia hapo kaka yangu, asante.
Okay, sawa bwana Msimamo. So bwana Stone PK, unaweza toa wazo lako tukifunganisha leo nataka tufunge mapema. Maybe you can react about that video. You can also react to like kuna watu wanaanzia kusikia tuoga ni kama ati Ruto is remobilizing. Do you think Ruto is remobilizing ama tu ni zile tu cheche tu za hekaya za Wabunwasi ambaye tu anakimbia hapa na pale, there's nothing is doing. So I can think there are some people who think like unajua ni strategies, although mimi hakuna strategy naona. Can you react to what Ruto is doing?
Yeah, thank you Jiro. Pole, nimetupwa nje mahali niko, ma network zinakaa fani. Sasa hebu niambie video, okay, because nimeingia ukimalizia video that I may not have sikuona, lakini when it comes to hii issue ya Renji, I think we know this playbook. That's the good thing, you know. Na ndio unaona personally najaribu ku emphasize on the opposition engaging, you know, higher gear, you know. Ile umesikia Kimbere wanasemanga muvyo, you've seen a bush moving and you are in the jungle, I mean uko kwa forest. Hunters huwa wanaambiwa you don't take chances. Wewe ukiona bush imeshake, usifikirie ati ni unaanza kujaji ati labda ni kalimu kadogo ama ni nini. As a sharp hunter, you prepare fully. When I say preparing fully is if you are armed to the tooth, to capacity of even bringing down an elephant. Of course, the elephant is too big, you will see it from far. But if you've gone to hunt and you have a capacity to hunt, let's say an eland, wewe ukiona bush, lazima uwe pia na capacity of bringing down a lion in case it's attacking you. And equally, you should be also ready to bring in a civet cat if need be. All right? Hata kama nika nini, unajitayarisha tu, kakikuja uone kumbe nika rabbit. That's okay. But can you imagine you underrating and saying hiyo bush vile imeshake, it's something very small. Kumbe ni anaconda inakuja. You know? What am I trying to say? I'm saying now that we know playbook ya Githinji. Na hivi ndio atacheza. Remember, Githinji wanasikiza maoni ya wananchi. Kama kuna mtu anasikiza any rumor, any TikTok chat, anywhere, all over, ni watu wa Githinji. Alright? Na ukitaka kujua, you discuss something na mtu mwingine ama hata even if it's not this channel ingine hapa na pale, you will see him implementing exactly that. Now, remember when Kalonzo went to Bondo, aliset wave ingine deadly, it shook the whole nation. And the whole week Kalonzo alikuwa amescore very high. People may say what or whatever, but in my own opinion, and when I listened to even channels and listened to people discussing all over, it was Kalonzo. Kasongo akulala, and the tactic he took, look, was to land in Ukambani. Kufanya nini? Kumwagilia maji hiyo kadi ya Kalonzo ambayo ilikuwa imeenda juu, hiyo rating. All right? Because and that's how so that is the playbook we already know. You know? And to tell you the truth, watu wanaweza sema sijui is not hizo tu gimmick. Remember yesterday we were even talking about that clip you played akionekana huko nini amekampu Ukambani kudismantle ama hata aweza kudismantle, but anataka kucreate a perception, you know, mpaka sasa anakuwa even ridiculous, sarcastic and all. Ameland huko anasema nasikia kuna barabara nyingine sijui ni watu gani wanaishi mahali kunaitwa Ikuyu na wanakulanga vumbi huko, iko watu wanaishi huko. I mean you know, the opposition has to now be above, and there is nothing wrong with tit for tat. Okay, hakuna kitu kibaya, but that has to continue. Yeah, when the people talk the way they are talking, you know, trying to show as if Ukambani sasa iko hivi na hivi na hivi. Remember now he has the muscle because he's the government. Yeah, but still there should be counter. Like now there should be a heavy one, maybe in Mbere. I hope they are going there on Saturday. Mbere, whenever they are going, they should handle and rebut all those nonsense that was spread and spilled in Ukambani. Directly. Mention even those spots. Mention even this, you are going to reopen a bridge that was open long time ago. You know, you should feel ashamed of kutangaza ati kuna barabara hapa ilianza kuwekwa lami 20 years ago ama 10 years ago. Now you are in that government. That is what wananchi should be told, and then wananchi should be addressed directly. On top of that, now the network, the mashinani movement that we've been talking about, it's the high time to have it. It's the high time to have it, because that way you'll even support Akina Kilonzo Mutula. I remember there is one clip I watched when he arrived. He arrived after Ruto, because Ruto decided to go mahali panaitwa Kasikeu. Yeah, and I think Mutula is very sharp. Unajua, you kama ume decide kwenda mahali impromptu, you don't expect me to be there. Kama nilikuwa pande ingine, obviously nitachelewa. Yeah, Of course, he did as a protocol. Ali apologize. If I were him, I would not have apologized. Ningesema tu pole, nilikuwa mahali pengine. Shughuli za governor ni mingi. I was on the other side of Makueni, and that's it. I'm here. Kwani kuchelewa ni nini? Yeah, but he handled it very well. He said something in Kikamba, which I know when it was interpreted to Ruto later, he must have really felt like going for Mutula's neck. He used a proverb that is so powerful in Kikamba, which says, when the hunter amefunga, yani umesimama mahali mnyama itatokelezea, you don't cough. Na Wakamba wakacheka sana na akaiachia hapo. There was no yeah, so the Kamba people wakaitikia na wakaitikia ni wana hunt na mahali wako ndio mnyama itatokelezea, you don't cough hata you even hold breath. So what we need to do as the opposition is actually to engage both juu, hali ya juu na mashinani. Hii mashinani tutaendelea kuimba sana Njiru, because the more you talk to those women in smaller groups, the better. Like to deconstruct that kind of nonsense. All what I heard throughout that trip is the usual promises. So somebody should come out and do that, and and kill that. Mmekuja kuletewa promises zile muliambiwa kutenga na kutengua na that is exactly what I had. Sijui nani wewe minister, hiyo title deed fanya hivi, hiyo certificate sijui. I mean, that is class primary school stuff. Okay, so Kaongo saa hii to counter him with that normal, I mean, boring and useless playbook, I think it's easier. Only that the United Nation, I mean United opposition ni vile hawaja assign watu wa kunini, wameachia Gachagua tu peke yake. Yeah, so if Gachagua for example aanze kukohoa ama akuwe na homa, hakuna mtu ataongea na kucounter hizo vitu za nani. Need to really think about, so that unarusha na mimi narusha, unarusha na mimi narusha. That's how it should be. Unarusha tunarusha, unarusha tunarusha. You don't give him a chance. The construct kutoka juu na kutoka chini, so that at least itakuwa ni kama tit for tat. Yeah. Njiru would be, I know, nimesikia ukisema sijui watu walisema jana sijui kuliwaka or something like that. I really don't want to talk about that, and I mean it's unfortunate that just like what we had said in our meeting earlier, that you can have people developing personal attacks on individuals who you even don't know. Hii tumekutana tu kwa internet, kwa maizi mitandao tukiongea siasa, and then you get so bitter with people mpaka you even unafika level ya kuanza kushame people, say. So basically for me, I mean, it's unfortunate. I was a bit provoked, but I've never ever bothered about anybody, because what we do, personally, I don't even force people to think the way I think. There's nowhere I have ever said that people must think the way I think. I don't think I have anywhere, and in my own way and profession, I don't think I'm very properly schooled, and I know you can't force people. So what I do, and I'm even a champion of people who say that you don't validate people's ideas. I give my idea, you can take it, I mean, you can do whatever you want with it, but you don't have to really follow. That's why you realize in all my discussions ever since Mtembe, you've never heard me beginning by saying I disagree with so and so, because I don't come here to agree or disagree. No, I don't. So I never use that phrase. That phrase is never in my vocabulary. Yeah, because yeah, I don't want, and I don't really want people to agree with me or disagree with me. Um, it's my opinion. I analyze my own way, and then you can also analyze your own way. Yeah, so it's unfortunate when people get so personal, saying that you've been studying. I don't expect people to study me, because unless you want to do your PhD with me or your masters with the Stone PK's kind of presentations. I'd rather you, and if you feel like Stone PK is talking a lot of nonsense, you switch off for that time he's presenting, then you switch on when he's not presenting. That way there can be harmony. Otherwise tusifungiane sana na kufika mpaka time watu wana raise temperatures and all that kind of a thing. It is not fair, because yeah, I don't think I have ever, and even when I opened my show, when I'm hosting, I don't think I guide people on what on I don't tell people which line they should be thinking. I leave it open. Yeah, so yeah, that is it, Njiro. Unless there's something else you want me to comment on.
Okay, ni sawa. Stone PK, that one is okay. Wacha nicheze Chris Kumekucha. Hata I had to stop my activities. Wacha nicheze hii Mari, alafu
Ivy Kids is about creating a safe and nurturing place for children to come.
The truth is, Kenyan politics is in chaos. Actually, regional politics, the entire East Africa politics, is in very serious chaos. Now put yourself in the shoes of these politicians. If you are them, what would you do in this kind of environment? Well, most people do not react very well or in a very smart way to rapid change and chaos. They don't. That's the truth. And President Ruto has decided to respond by doing same old, and following his plan, despite the chaos. And I think he's hoping that somewhere down the road, the storm will ease. And he'll get a breakthrough somewhere. Hey. Anyway, welcome to my show today, where I'm going to break all this down, and especially the recent, actually yesterday, tour of Ukambani, which President Ruto started. You know, there are not many people who understand Kamba politics. Well, stick with me. At the end of my show today, you will thoroughly understand Ukambani politics. And you'll also be able to know why, in my opinion, Ruto is wasting his time in Ukambani. It is not what he thinks it is. Okay? Stick with me and you'll know exactly what I mean. Welcome to my very informative and I hope entertaining show that I've prepared for you today. Folks, twende kazi. If anybody wanted to cut to the chase very quickly over this Ruto tour of Ukambani, they would do so in the following way. This is all about one individual, okay? One name helps you see clearly the political situation here. That name, of course, is Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Now, please allow me to help government bloggers. Yes, I'm serious. Because many of them, their strategy is so predictable. They have gone out of their way to find out, kumekucha is which tribe? Oh, ni Mkamba. And then they pollute the comments area with what they think will touch me, or with what they think will affect me. Friends, please assist me a minute to help them here. Especially because we are about to talk about Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. So some people will say, si kumekucha ni Mkamba na anaongea kuhusu Kalonzo, haizi kutuambia ukweli wote. Is bound to hide some Kamba things there. Now, my father, who was also my political lecturer, hailed from Machakos County. He belonged to the Akamba community. My late mother, who passed on when I was about only 12 years old, hailed from the Bukusu community within the larger Luhya tribe. And because my dad was a cop, being transferred all over the place all the time, I grew up all over Kenya. And maybe this is where my thinking has become totally tribeless. My tribe actually is Kenyan. Because there are not too many things I admire about the Kamba community, which is in fact my blood. Actually, I admire much more the House of Mumbi, the Agikoyo. I absolutely love my name, Kariuki Kumekucha. I love it. And on the other side, I really admire and love the neighbors of the Bukusu, the Luo community.
Why are you not investing in tax liens? No, seriously, why are you not investing?
If I had a choice to come back to this planet and to be able to choose my tribes, I would choose without hesitation, half Kikuyu, half Luo. The Kikuyu, many things, but including the ability to make money, which is natural in many instances. And the Luo, for their sheer brilliance. Those guys are sharp. You know, the very first black African Kenyan to qualify as a lawyer, a man called Agwins Kodek. You know, Bwana Kodek would give a submission in a court of law in colonial Kenya that would cause judges to immediately call for recess, and then they would go scrambling into their textbooks on law. And this is a judge. Amechanganywa akili by a lawyer, tena a black, as my dad used to say, a black lawyer. What? Na sio chocha. Let me give you a brief story. When Agwins Kodek came back into the country with his British wife, he was immediately arrested at the airport. His crime? In colonial Kenya, it was a very serious criminal offense to have any romantic relationship with a white. Okay? And so according to the laws of the land, the marriage between Mr. and Mrs. Kodek was null and void in Kenya. It did not exist. And so Kodek went to court. And I'm sure the judge was just smiling and wondering to himself, what does this stupid African think he's doing? Well, that case ended very quickly. Why? Because lawyer Kodek's legal argument could not be contested to retain his white wife. And it was simply this. Kenya was a colony of Britain, and therefore British law was superior to Kenya colony law. And therefore it was rather obvious that if there was a conflict between British law and Kenya colony law, hapo hakuna debate. British law was superior. Mzungu alikuwa ameshindwa he had been defeated at his own game. And Bwana Kodek walked out of court with his white wife. The Luos are brilliant. And I really love the advantages of so many other Kenyan communities, the Maasai, the Meru, the Mijikenda, etc., right across the country. And since this video is not about Kenyan communities, wacha niwachie hapo. My point is this: you will not get to me with tribalism. It'll never happen. And so Ruto arrives in Makueni for his tour, and of course for perception purposes. Yeah, he's inspecting and opening development projects, including bridges, etc., etc. Okay? But what is the feeling of the people on the ground? And where is Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka? Well, it can get a bit confusing because on this tour, he was accompanied by opposition politicians, watu wa Kalonzo Musyoka. And I still don't know how he pulled that one off. We had a very flimsy excuse from the Makueni senator, Bwana Manzo, who claimed they grabbed at the opportunity to engage the president on a number of things which they don't agree with him. Okay? But of course, the body language and the pictures contradict that explanation. But in my opinion, that is a small issue. Okay? So let's not get stuck there. Especially because the same Dan Manzo, senator of Makueni, confirmed what happened immediately Ruto left a place called Emali in Makueni. Now, Emali is along the Nairobi-Mombasa road. As you're going down to the coast, you pass Salama, you pass Sultan Hamud, and then 20 minutes later, at a reasonable speed, you'll arrive at a town called Emali, a very interesting town, because there's a lot of trade in that town with neighboring Tanzania. So, what happened in Emali? Well, immediately Ruto left, there were serious protests that had to be put down by tear gas and even police bullets. What does that tell you? Nothing has changed on the ground. The ground in Ukambani is exactly the same ground in the rest of the country. One term, Ruto must go. That has not changed. Don't be fooled by the photographs where you saw people flashing the two-finger sign, signifying two-term. Unajua kuna njaa nyingi sana Ukambani. And when you see an opportunity, you grab it. Now let's go deep into Ukambani politics. I'm sure most of us do not know that there has always been a rivalry between Kambas from Machakos and those from neighboring Kitui. They have always been suspicious of each other. They have never liked each other, generally speaking. Kalonzo Musyoka hails from Mwingi, which is part of Kitui. Over the years, this rivalry has been chini ya maji, especially when it comes to national politics, and could have been a hindrance to Kalonzo Musyoka trying to solidly unite the Akamba people.
Is private student loan debt wrecking your life? You really need to talk to YRefi. YRefi refinances
Behind him. But then, breaking news, he has never achieved that in his entire career. In case you didn't know, Charity Ngilu, who was born in Machakos but got married in Kitui, did a much better job of uniting the Kamba community. And this was evidenced very clearly in the presidential elections. Madam Ngilu was the very first woman to vie for the highest office in the land. And in my opinion, she gave a very good account of herself. And the truth is, she got the entire block of Ukambani votes. Kalonzo has never achieved that. Okay? Yes, he gives the perception that he has, but the truth is that he has never. In my humble opinion, and I know I'm going to hurt a lot of Kalonzo supporters, but please allow me to speak the truth. In my opinion, politics was the wrong career for the character of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Because you see, when you're in politics and you want to be a kingpin, you must be attractive to the voter. And the problem with Kalonzo Musyoka is that he lacks a lot of attributes that would make him wildly popular, even amongst his community. And so the response he has is always lukewarm. Okay, even when people vote for him, they vote for him in a lukewarm manner. It is not hot and it is not cold. Iko hapo tu. In many ways, Kalonzo Musyoka is very similar to Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki, that kind of politician, who does not evoke emotions, the kind of emotions to get that wild support from the people that one needs to be propelled to the presidency. But Kumekucha Kibaki made it to the presidency. Yes, he did. Courtesy of Raila's words, Kibaki Tosha. Okay? And he was propelled into the presidency under a large coalition which wanted to remove Kano. Yeah? The Rainbow Coalition. That's how Kibaki became president. Otherwise, he'd never have seen the presidency. That is politics. That is how politics goes. Okay? And I didn't make the rules. Yeah, so don't get mad at me. You see, the big mistake most of us make when we're trying to analyze Ukambani politics is that we forget that the Kamba are Kenyans. They're feeling the pain of the Ruto presidency just like any other Kenyan. But for most of them, it is worse because already their life was hard. Yeah, now comes a president who doesn't care. That is what the protests at Emali, immediately Ruto left, were all about. People are not happy. They're angry. One term is all they want. They can't see anything else. They don't want to know anything else. One term. You too. Now I can hear the mamas. Oh, Chris, when I don't know the Kamba people, they're very cool. Awana fujo. They're just known for that other thing. Wakamba wana shida. Chris, what are you talking about? I hear you. Well, let me take you back in history to the 90s when the late General Jackson Mulinge was campaigning for a parliamentary seat. And this story illustrates very well what we've been talking about. Yeah, how attractive is a politician? Because if you're not an attractive politician, whether you like it or not, somewhere down the road, kitaumana, yeah, with the public. So Mulinge had an excellent development record. Let's put it this way. The development Mulinge brought to Kambani was many, many more times more than all the other previous Kamba politicians since independence put together, and then still multiply that figure. Mulinge had an excellent development record. But of course, he did not have that oomph that a politician needs. Okay? And so he's campaigning and he's telling the people, you see this road here, tarmac? It is me who organized it. You see that hospital there? It is among the many that I've built, that have saved lives, very many lives in Ukambani. The response of the people, they were very angry. When he mentioned the road, they responded in anger. Osa! In Kamba, that means, take it. Take that road. We don't need it. When he mentioned the hospital, Osa! Any other development project, Osa! Take it. Park it carefully in those vehicles of yours and take them away. We don't need them. Bring us back our rough roads, take away the hospital. We don't need it. We'd rather die than vote for you. That is what the Kamba people, who you claim are cool and calm, were telling him in the 90s. In fact, my late political lecturer, who was a great friend of Mulinge, was at that meeting. And I can assure you, Mulinge would have been assaulted had it not been for the fact that he was a former military man. What walimuogopa? If you don't have the charisma, if you don't have Raila Odinga's empathy, the ability to feel exactly what the people are feeling, politics, wachana nae. That is my strong advice. because you will do many, many things for the people. And the response at the end of the day, when you go back to them to ask for their votes, Osa. It is human nature, and that is politics. It is important to understand that, especially because if you want to understand what is happening in Kenya now, you imagine a situation where a politician has done zero. There is nothing to tell him, Osa. He has done nothing. And in fact, he has taken you back. He has done things that have affected your life negatively. Now imagine such a politician coming to the same crowd, which is telling a politician who has given them development, Osa. How do you think they're going to react to such a politician? I think that is the perfect way to understand Ruto's tour of Ukambani. Just that brief sentence I've just uttered, that is the perfect way of understanding what is going on here. And indeed, what is going on across the entire country, in every corner of the Republic. You know, in my video today, I've mentioned the late Raila Amolo Odinga. Now, talking about the late Raila Amolo Odinga, increasingly, many Kenyans are starting to believe, yes, Raila was old, but his passing on, there are too many mysteries linked to it, too many question marks. And I would highly recommend that if you've not seen my very latest, highly sensitive special report that has a lot of details on this topic, I recommend that you go for it as soon as possible because it will open your eyes. And this special report is not my views, no. It points to specific pieces of evidence. And it gives in great detail exactly how this thing was done. And not only that, it also explains other similar assassinations that have taken place in Kenya, which have used the same methods, where the start date of the assassination and when it actually happens could be months apart, even a year. Oh, yes. Please listen to this very brief excerpt from a special report, to get an idea of what I'm talking about. How this hero of Kenya passed on. This is so sad. Listen in.
Ever dreamed of leaving the ground level life behind? At U.S. Aviation Academy, your first takeoff happens on.
It was executed by introducing two pills, two specially designed pills in a normal pill box, where the patient is supposed to take one pill per day. Just two rogue pills were introduced. And we know there are two because one was found and it was assumed the other one was taken because the symptoms and everything that happened, what his dead body was telling experts, this is exactly what he took that ended his life. Now, the usual dosage for ephedrine is 12.5 milligrams, 25 milligrams tops every 4 hours. Now, these killer pills were 1,000 milligrams. Now, remember, we're talking about assassinations where the start date and the date where it finally happens are very far apart. So in this particular instance, we do not know. As I told you, this thing is very detailed, and you can get it in your inbox.
Yeah, Stony PK, I think he largely talked about a journey to zero. Maybe I think it's like Chris Kumekucha is trying to tell us that there are no gains for Ruto in Ukambani. He's even using the word Osa. So I didn't know were you able to understand Bwana Stone PK hiyo sijui ati the famous one in Ukambani Osa?
Yeah, chukua.
Mm.
Yeah. You don't
Were you-
discard. Unachukua.
Yeah, so can you react to what he is one of the people who analyzes that. Before I pray his last video ile ambaye anasema about the tsunami coming from Keter, you can react to Chris Kumekucha alafu niweke hiyo ya tsunami ya Keter and then we call it.
Yeah. I mean, Chris is actually his thinking, his analysis, is looking at the situation is it's very, very, very in depth and very real. Actually, those of you who follow Chris Kumekucha, he doesn't engage, theories, whatever. He approaches it from very realistic point of view. You heard of his analysis for Kalonzo. I mean, some diehards of Kalonzo would feel offended, and people who are not very, I don't know, I don't have a term to use, maybe fanatical about a follower, I mean a person or a leader. They don't want to hear the SWOT analysis of that leader. Remember when we used to talk about Raila Amolo Odinga, when we were crazy and we really, as Mio, we were there, but then some of us would come and give the weaknesses. Do you remember some people coming here almost insulting us and saying we should not talk about Baba, don't talk about this when he says this, when he says left, when he says he's always right, he knows what he's doing and all that. We would be bombarded thoroughly. Even by the time we left the other channel, it's because it was not palatable. That any time you would invoke a Raila name and you are talking like you are saying something is not right, it would become a serious war. Yeah. So Chris is one of these analysts, and I'm happy he has even given that background. Some of us know his background, so that at least people are able to see the objectivity in his analysis. So he's real. He's very real. But also, as much as like what we have seen from Kambani, and I'll go back to my initial submission on this, is that we cannot just sit pretty and say that hapa tumefunga na kufuli. Again, I'm happy he has quoted about the perception that Ruto is trying to create. Yeah, the perception is there. Watu watakuja kuosa, yes, but that in politics, you have to also, follow that trail. In my language, they say, unafuata hiyo trail ukifuta, kodharia makinyo. Yeah, you undo what is happening, so that even if these people are solid, you see, Chris has said the person that we are having is not a warrior. Okay, so he needs to be supported by the reactions of people going into Machinani and dismantling that. He's not a warrior. You sit pretty, you do this and that, and take it very easy, lukewarm and that. Then we need some firebrand from nini kutoka huku nyuma. All right, kutoka huku nyuma, criticizing even when, like for example, what Chris has said, that the Kamba MPs, the opposition, gave an excuse for XYZ. That should be, it should be hit also. It should be hit. And na watu waulizwe, can you account? Must you? Is it this and that? And you must demonstrate that kweli you had just come to make a show. When you say you had come to engage the president, tell us what you engaged him in, because it was all over. We want to hear what is it that you engage him in. And engaging, I would want engagement to be really blatant, like that bridge, vitu kama Dwake, all those that were mentioned some times back. Somebody should mute. There is some noise. There's noise in Jiro. Okay. Yeah. So for me, I still feel there should be fire. We should not sit pretty. There should be fire, and fire to an extent that, like what happened in Mali, that's a good one. You know, it shows people disgusted because what is happening in Kenya today, people are disgusted, people are annoyed, they are angry, they are hungry and angry. So when ukiwa una njaa na una hasira, utaanza kusema tuombe tufanye nini nini, you know, that kind of a thing. You will go lukewarm. No, that now you will make sure you'll present as if Githinji is anakuweza, you know, mpaka anafika mpaka anakukejeli and all that. I know somebody will tell me, you know, that is politics and you have to be of thick skin. Of course, yes, you have to be of thick skin, but tusinyamaze. There has to be reactions for every action that is taken. That is my take. And yes, Chris analysis that is where Kambas are now. But remember, he even invoked the Ngilu moment that Kalonzo has never managed to reach Ngilu moment. And it's good he brought also what also now destroys most of our unities. The infighting, yeah, the Machakos versus Kitui. Yes, it is there. But now somebody should be very candid. I've never had, you know, like Kalonzo say it, because you see the hate that even this ex-governor Mutua has against Kalonzo. I mean, somebody should come out and show it clearly. See ati Mutua has ati vitu zingine scientific. It is that because Kalonzo is from Kitui and him is from Machakos. That is why there is that tug of war, you know. Hiyo wivu hiyo you know, that kind of attacking and all that, because Machakos feels superior to nani to Kitui, you know, that inferior superiority complex is in play. So that has to be dismantled directly, and people to be told that now the enemy is from out. And when I say out, is the enemy is beyond the the Kamba nation. That the Kamba nation needs to be solid in one basket to be able to, you know, capture this thing. And once you capture it, you know, it will not be like at yo sasa hii presidency ni ya Machakos and all this. And, I mean ni ya Kitui na si Machakos, because that same thing is also in Mulima. Okay, it is also in Mulima. It is also even in Meru. It is in Mbere. It is in Uluyani. It is endemic in the entire country. But how you try to play it and bring it out and then try to show that in this particular situation tuache hii siasa ya kinyumbani, tushikane, tuende tukawinde pamoja. You know, that has to come out loudly from from Akina Kalonzo. You know, why is it that Mudama, you know, doesn't feel anymore to, you know, to be as if he wants to, you know, to nini to support Kalonzo? It's because kuna kale ka jealous, kuna kawivu. Okay, as much as Ukambani will be happy Kalonzo being the president, kuna tule wale watu wa ndani wawivu. Jesus alibetrayiwa na one of his best disciples, ndugu ya nani. Yeah, so that has to be nini nurtured. Wawache kujificha, you know, pretending like it's politics. That's why we are doing it, and that's why I like Chris having brought that up, because it's everywhere. Wakikuyu wa Murang'a, they don't really feel so safe with Wakikuyu wa Kiambu, Nyeri, and all that. There is that. They used to even say that Utongoria should never cross River Chania. I mean, those are all those kind of divisions that always come in play. But now, when it comes to the bigger picture, we need to react. The Merus the same. The Meru of Imenti and the Merus of this other side, they have their place. But when it comes to capturing and doing something for the bigger Meru, they get together. Yeah. So yes, 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 yes. So there has to be, the fire has to be there. The counter has to be there. We cannot afford to sit pretty. Mr. Njiru.
Okay, ni sawa. So yeah, that one is okay. An in-depth analysis, I agree. I can see Alex is here and I can see Julia is here. So Alex, do you want to react something on
Yeah, mine will be very short. I don't know if I'm audible because I'm traveling.
yes,
Am I
you
audible?
are. Yes, you are.
Okay. Yeah, I want to add on top of what Stone Picker said, and it will be bullet points. When you look at Kalonzo as a persona, Kalonzo is surrounded with real enemies, and I want to name them, and I think Nani has named some of them. Gilu has always been an arch rival of Kalonzo for a very long time. What brought together Gilu and Kalonzo was Baba. If you look at Mudama, you know very well Mudama wanted to control Kalonzo by all necessary means until one time Kalonzo said capital NO because he was the one actually bankrolling and also, you know, the people who started Wiper. When you look at Mutua that Nani has spoken about, is one guy who's very petty and always has been, you know, used by any and everybody, you know, and anything to destroy Kalonzo at every point. And I think I cannot emphasize the way Nania said, when you look at Kivuta Kibwana, same thing, to a point that he will support Kalonzo, but not come to Wiper, even though tunampeanga maua, you know, he did this, he did this, he did this, he did this. Now, there is one we always forget. There's always one we forget, and least we forget about it. And this one, amekuwa ni shida kubwa kwangu for a very long time. But I don't know why we don't notice it. Mutula Kilonzo. Mutula Kilonzo was the first one to embrace, even when Wiper had not been warming up to UDA, he was already warming up. Now, the reason I fear Mutula Kilonzo Jr. all this time is, you know, that revenue allocation debate that was robust, that we thought all these super senators were for us, ended up to become an elite club that was sponsored by Ruto, so that he will bankroll them to become what? Governors. If you look from Sakaja, if you look from Malala, and everybody, you know, we never knew why Murkomen and the UDA people eventually agreed to what Malala and the rest of the people, you know, were agitating for. We thought they were agitating for us. But if you go back to that revenue allocation debate that were robust, that ended up somebody like Malala being, you know, abducted, in quotes, because he abducted himself at that particular time. Sorry, he's in DCP right now, but we cannot fascistize his sins. We have to quote them so that we know how Ruto created himself. Now, if you go back, let's connect the dots to form the line, the straight line. If you go back, we thought these senators were for us, but Ruto was recruiting his army for the future. Least did we even know Sakaja, of all people, was in UDA. We didn't even know Malala would be given the UDA ticket, and the person that introduced Ruto to the Luya nation, anaitwa nani, Boni Kalwale, atanyimwa that ticket. Post that, I started knowing how Ruto operates. Now, this thing we are belittling. Now, before I say that, let me also say one thing that was worth emphasis today. Immediately, the tour and whatever you saw happened as a repercussion of when he left that place that I've forgotten the real name, about Stone Picker say, Makau Mutua, who is also a real enemy number one enemy every time Kalonzo wanted to make his personal decision, because at some point they had dealt with issues, legal issues, in terms of agreement between Raila and Kalonzo. Makau Mutua was the one who was used as a boogeyman to do what? To threaten Kalonzo. And today he gave out a statement that Kalonzo will never ever succeed where Raila failed. So Kalonzo can never be a president. That was worth noting from a person called Makau Mutua, of all people. You know, that tells you something bigger and deeper. Now, the Maazo issue should not be belittled. Now, let me connect the dots for you to understand how Ruto operates. When Ruto started hitting Uhuru Kenyatta last time, we all thought it was a joke. We all said, itakuja kuisha. But progressively, he had a plan. He acquired Ndindi Nyoro, he acquired Chungwa, he acquired Wamatangi, until he acquired Muturi. Until we started asking ourselves, and I think even Nani asked that question at one particular time, Babu Wino, when we saw Minji go, when we saw Muturi go, when we saw people who truly were part and parcel, the cornerstone of Uhuru's presidency, shift this side. Did we know that the presidency has been taken, or we still thought we had the deep state? Now, look, relax. I like the analysis of Kumekucha, but I do not agree with it. And Stone PK has already warned me that I don't come here to disagree. I come here to add on top of it. But the reason I'm disagreeing with it, least we take it as the common denominator of what we should think about the Kamba politics. How Ruto empowered Ndindi Nyoro to date, Ndindi Nyoro doesn't know how to get out of him, was he gave him stakes, business, and so on and so on. Why Chungwa cannot make a statement and boldly get out of Ruto is because he gave him an estate and it became a business partner. Wamatangi married Ruto's, is married to a Kalenjin and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying this in a wrong way. I am saying this. The proximity of some of these leaders to Ruto must be interrogated, because Ruto knows the principle of politics. Leaders do not eat alone. If you saw Oburu Odinga's statement that for those who are cabinet ministers, they are under Ruto because they are in the government. What was he telling you? That there is no way we can recount them. There is no way we can take them. They have already eaten. Anything we try to do with them is going to have a catastrophic or collateral damage to us. What am I saying? Yes, the Ukambani people are with Kalonzo. But the perception Ruto wants to use the same way he used it. I am one person who still believed that if servers were to be opened, Ruto never got all these votes that we are saying that the Mulima voted for him. That's why they will never open the servers. And that is where Gachagua needs to come up clean, finally. This perception that you're belittling, because the highest asset that Ruto has right now is his IEBC. So whatever Ruto wants to do is to create a perception, even if he was to get only 10% from Mukumbani. He understands Ruto won by only 400, less than 1 million, half a million votes. Do you think he doesn't know the theatrics and the mathematics to play there? So let's be very careful about that. We should not give Ruto room for a perception that he can take even 1%. It is dangerous. Thank you. Julia, you can go on now.
Oh, sasa Alex Sanjiru amedisappear. Me, I was just surprised about huyo gavana Kitui, Mutula Kilonzo Jr. I was wondering, is he the one who prepared the ground for Ruto? Somebody answer me that. Alex, did you follow that? Ulifuata hiyo kitu?
Yes, I followed it and I've been following it because, as I said, the biggest enemy of Kalonzo presidency in Ukambani is Mutula Kilonzo. If you realize, even when Bill Gates came with all this money, it came to Mutula Kilonzo and his entry. If you realize how the presidency of Ruto has been dealing with Mutula Kilonzo as a person and as a governor, you may think that he is, the chairman of the Council of Governors. Go look in all perspective how Mutula Kilonzo has been behaving, him and Ruto. You come to realize that there is something fishy between him and Ruto. So all this that you see, I think it is the brainchild of Mutula Kilonzo. And that is why I say we fail to see Mutula Kilonzo as the biggest enemy of the Ukambani unity.
Yes, thank you for letting me know that. You see, now we know that unaona these people watajitokeza tu. Tutajua tofauti ya mbivu na mbichi. We will know them. You see somebody yesterday we were arguing with Kip. Now we were asking ourselves why Jeremiah Kioni has to really show some vengeance against Gachagua for what? We were asking ourselves. Jeremiah knows that Matiang'i needs Gashagua's support. So why would he go on and fight Gachagua unless he doesn't even want Matiang'i to win or to get anywhere? You see, unless he has no intention of having Kasongo going. So some of these malls, we are going to really get them who they are as time goes by. And Mutula Kilonzo is eating with both sides of his mouth, akitarajia kwamba I hope Kalonzo will stand firm. Unajua juzi nimeuliza Kalonzo anafanya nini na huyu mama wa Machakos Wavinya Ndeti na hizo stori zake za corruption, na nikaambiwa tu hiyo ni beshti yake. Kalonzo also has to take a stand. Where is he? These people eating him, backbiting him and eating him from the back. Na bado wako na Kasongo, we have really to be very careful with this. That is my take. So I was wondering, na nikashanga, what is Mutula Kilonzo doing with Kasongo? Hata history ya kusema ati governor lazima akaribishe rais. Kwani we have a new constitution? This thing must come to an end. The governors don't have to lick the buttocks of the president in power so as to get financial support. They don't have to. We have a clear constitution in place in Kenya. So hiyo story ya kina Mutula, I was very surprised. That is what I wanted to say. And anyway, nimesikia huyo kumekucha akianalyze. Sikujua hata kulikuwa na riots later. I didn't know that people rioted somewhere. I was just wondering what Kasongo was doing in Ukambani. Just like PK was saying that upinzani, the so-called United Opposition Front, should go now and pour cold water on that. And I've been saying I'm kind of disappointed why Kalonzo and team did not go to campaign for the Magarini seat. I don't understand why they did not go there, because they had room to. Right now, the ground is ready for the opposition, wherever, left and right in Kenya. You see, even Kip has been trying to tell us here that even in Rift Valley, in North Rift for that matter, the people are disoriented. It's just that they don't have enough courage to come out and say they are disoriented, but they are really disoriented. And it is high time, I think, our people, upinzani, went on the ground to tell this that we know what you are going through and we are with you. And it is high time you join us. So that is what I wanted to say. Nilikuwa disappointed na Mutula Kilonzo. I was wondering what he's doing, and now I understand where he is. Thank you, Njiru. Somebody wants to say something. I see PK amerudi ama msimamo ama sijui nani huyo mwingine. Njiru, mbona unawacha show hivi?
Okay, let me say something. Well, I'm traveling. I just wanted to listen. I want to emphasize what Stone PK said. You know, and we did say that, and I think it. At first, I was disappointed, but I saw it was tactical and it was quite in order. We were waiting for Gachagua to go with Kalonzo on that Thursday to there. But I think them sitting down, retreating Gachagua, and Kalonzo going the way he went, and the manner he was received, and what he was capable to achieve in that, visitation to Raila, and how he pulled the string again, to make sure that he takes the day by anointing and giving the eldership to and honoring Raila Jr. as an elder for Wakamba. But at the same time, Raila Jr. coming out to say, now you're my political father, not even his own what? His own uncle. You are my political father. I will look for you. If you see the words that were said during that, and then Nani, Kalonzo is a genius, and sometimes we underestimate him. Okay, honestly, we underestimate the guy. He pulled a string. He brings one of the elders from Ukambani. Instead, he knew that Oburu Odinga is tied to ODM. And because he's the leader of ODM, it is going to cause havoc for him. Now, but he says, I respect Oburu Odinga, but because I need this, I need this so that we can walk in this. Let me give James Agri Orengo hii fimbo tu ashikie nani, ashikie Oburu, so that hii relay ikifika kule mbele, Oburu Orengo will return it to Oburu, and Oburu will finally endorse me. That political ingenuity and magnanimity was lethal to the UDA. That day, I don't think any architecture of the broad-based government went to sleep. That was classical for me. I wish we had, topical and also dissectoral conversation on step by step on how the man Stephen Kalonzo deconstructed Ruto totally in the Luo politics, and those who watched and understood the friendship between these two can agree with me that Kalonzo brought respect not only to himself but also to the Luo people as a friend, and he pulled a string of 100 cows, 100. And that was the epitome of it. So what am I saying? Whatever they may try to do, they're chasing a mirage. So I think other people may come in and we may continue from there.
Okay, so Alex, that tells you that Kalonzo is seemingly giving Kasongo a run for his money. Earlier, PK analyzed Kalonzo as a Kibaki type of a candidate. That is what I also see. He's a compromise candidate. He's a candidate that people are not telling about.
Julia umeenda ndani kama ni mimi? Sorry. Go ahead. I was not hearing you.
Talk and get 10.
Okay, no, uko sawa. Go ahead.
So I was saying that Kalonzo is seemingly a compromise candidate, kama Kibaki. So a lot of Kenyans would easily support him, not because they think he's strong, but because they are not afraid of him. Unajua ila vile pia kuna kuanga na maphobia. Kama Raila Odinga, one of the things that Raila Odinga people never voted for him, those who didn't vote for him, is because of that is something that was called Raila phobia. So I think now Kasongo amegundua kwamba Kalonzo will give him a run for his money, but still I don't think that Kasongo can be loitering around Kenya, but Ukambani hawawezi they would, I don't think they will flip and support Kasongo and leave Kalonzo. I don't think so. Kasongo can try other places. I think Ukambani itakuwa na happy task. That's my take.
Okay, I think Ukambani they have proved to be, and I don't think Ukambani they are orphans. Unajua Ukambani, that's also one thing which we need to understand. Our Luo community they are orphans now. We don't know how it can go, but Ukambani have proved 3 times they can go in one basket. Do you want to tell me even right now when Karonzo fortunes looks very blossoming, sasa sasa ndio wataanzia kutapaka. Unajua Julia, pia kuna kitu tunasemanga, yani like unajua unaweza anzia kuona pahali ni kama tunda inatokezea, and you can imagine even Kambas went with Kalonzo Musyoka when he had no regular position in Raila Odinga. What about saa hii tu kutokezea tu uvumi ati Kalonzo anaweza kuwa kiongozi? Can you tell me the gravity which will push Kamba people? Julia, ni swali tu nakuuliza. Let's assume today Kalonzo Musyoka is a candidate. How will the gravity ile itagonga Wakamba ikiwa inaenda pande yake?
Yes. Obviously Wakamba they'll come out. They come out kadogo na kakubwa. Ni tunanga na Kikuyu. Now I think this time they'll come out and practice the Kikuyu thing of kumera. Now, and you see if they can come out for Raila Odinga, you know they Kalonzo gave Raila Odinga and Martha Karua, I mean all the votes from Mukambani. And if they could do that, I think they'll come out for him. Now, and you see Kalonzo he will easily get Mount Kenya region without much struggle. Juu akina Gachagua wenye wanaogopa akina Matiang'i hawaogopi Kalonzo sana. So he'll easily get Mount Kenya region. And I think now that's what Alex has said, the approach he gave when he went to Luoland, that was awesome. And you heard what Orengo said, which means now Kalonzo has friendly faces, even in Luo Nyanza. So as much as Luo Nyanza they may feel like orphans, wanaweza egemea upande wa Kalonzo kwa sababu they want a place where they can feel safe. So I think Kasongo is feeling the heat. And I think what Kasongo is just doing, Ruto is just, let me call him Ruto, so that he doesn't mistake that I'm not talking about him. That is clear, I'm talking about him, if he listens. Now, what Ruto is doing, he's trying to form a perception to try and steal the votes. And we shouldn't be intimidated by that perception. He should be made to know whatever perception he tries to form. Hata hizo stories ya kupanga kura sijui Northeastern ama kujaza wapi, he should be made to know that he's not intimidating anybody. Wakenya wajipange, hata kama I agree with Gachagua counting the votes from the grassroots and announcing them ourselves. And Ruto should be made to know that hata afunge social, whatever he'll do, that will not be doable. Hata nimesikia kuna watu wanasema ati anapanga kujiswear kwa jeshi usiku. Constitution Kenya inasema you cannot be sworn until I don't know how many days. You cannot be sworn kama Pakistan. The next day that will not be swearing. And even if he's preparing chaos, nimesikia Martha Karua akisema ati Ruto is recruiting militia. Saizi nothing will save him. Ajipange akaenda kwake kuku Sugoi. Maybe he should increase the number of chicken in Sugoi now. So in my take is, I think Kalonzo will be is the best compromise candidate. And that is why Kasongo is trying to go to Kambani to form some perception that yako na following huko. hapati. No. Thanks, Njiru.
Aya, ni sawa. So let me do the last Chris Kumekucha video, and then we can analyze it. That's that even as I move from here, I will not have anything.
We are being able to read the politics. Kenyan politics especially is extremely important. You see, when it suddenly gets very humid, even if there's no single cloud in the sky, you know rain is not far. It is the same with politics. And especially for people who have been doing this a long time, you see the telltale signs early. Well, I have some breaking news that is rather huge. Something that many Kenyans have not been able to see, that humidity before the big rain. Actually, this is a tsunami which is coming. And it is the tsunami of independent candidates. Okay? What? How will this happen? What are the signs? Are you sure, Chris? Well, stick around on my show today and find out some super fascinating things that are already unfolding in our politics and what we should expect, very shortly. In fact, if you didn't know, independent candidates are already ruling our politics. Okay, but we'll come back to that shortly. Also on my show today, I would like to touch on one or two issues that are still developing in the early stages. Therefore, it is difficult to be able to see how they will end. But I have that disturbing feeling that these issues are going to grow into very big giants, tsunamis. Karibuni sana to my show. I have made every effort to make sure you enjoy. Twende kazi.
Monday.com, the opposite of any work platform we tried in the past. We tried other work management platforms, not naming,
that are developing our politics, and indeed in regional politics, that are of great concern and that we should pay attention to. Okay? President Ruto recently had an interview with Al Jazeera. Now, I like to understand things. I really do. Because of course you can't analyze without first understanding what is happening. And then you analyze and it makes sense. But when you don't understand, you're just asking questions with no answers. The truth is, I am totally stumped. I can't understand, and I've tried very hard. I can't understand what that Al Jazeera interview was all about. Because first of all, it exposed Ruto to the entire world to see. In my opinion, and indeed in the opinion of many Kenyans, because I've seen comments on social media, it was a disaster. Ruto would have been much better off not doing that particular interview. What was the objective anyway? What was the objective? I'm a student and I'm willing to learn. I wish somebody would give me a 1-hour lecture to explain to me what the strategy is here. Because it is very clear this is a case of somebody shooting themselves in the foot. Huh? I don't see it any other way. Starting with the audience. What is the audience of Al Jazeera? Important decision makers, international community, donor community, powerful political forces globally. These are very intelligent people. They can read between the lines. They can analyze body language, which, by the way, is impossible to fake. Okay? And what came out of this interview? was a total disaster. Maybe the only people who would appreciate this are some people in a very remote area of the Rift Valley who would say something like, haya, mzungu amemuuliza swali na amejibu. Ako na akili sana. Kama mzungu anaweza muuliza kitu na ajibu, huyu jamaa ako mbele. Something like that. Otherwise, any person who is aware and exposed, this was a total disaster. And the disasters continue of the Ruto presidency. There are many, and they continue. I found it super fascinating when he was asked the question about what is currently going on in neighboring Tanzania. That body language was classic. He was so nervous. It was clear. Why would he be nervous? Well, if you missed my last video, you may not be able to understand. But the mauaji that took place in Tanzania are very closely linked to what we saw with our Gen Zs, very tragic, Kina Rex Masai, etc., etc. It is linked to the mauaji in Kenya, very closely linked. Please make sure you catch that video if you've not yet taken it in. It is important, very important. Now, Tanzania. The crisis in Tanzania has escalated. Why? Because of too much exposure. Various human rights organizations globally seem to have been gathering evidence very fast of mass graves, mauaji ya wananchi. And now it is beginning to look like that figure we were given, which looked like it was impossible. This can't be true. Now it is starting to look like that figure we were given may even be conservative. Over 3,000 innocent Tanzanians were sent prematurely to meet their maker. That is a huge number. It is over 3 times the official figure that was given in Kenya over the 2007-2008 clashes. Oh yes. And clearly the take-home lesson here is that when you do this kind of thing, you need to think ahead and plan ahead and understand what the consequences of what you're doing are, and especially how people will respond. For instance, you rig an election and you give yourself 97%. You know that is now a joke across the globe. 97%. Simple common sense would have told somebody that is mathematically impossible in politics. Impossible. Something else.
Professionals who apply AI to business earn 56% more globally. And Gen AI is leading.
After you have done your evil mauaji, how do you dispose of the evidence? You know, in Kenya, during the Gen Z uprising, when they were doing this kind of evil, at least they were a little smart, okay? They used a place called Quarry, which passes through Quarry police station, okay, right next to a cop shop. And I believe if we were in another season, and not this season of exposure, nobody would ever have known. By the way, do you know how the Quarry dump site for maiti ya Gen Zs zilikuwa zimemwaga huko? Do you know how it was discovered? Many people don't believe. A woman, a young woman who is very prayerful, lost her sister, and she went into serious prayer. And she was shown in a dream the Quarry area, and the rest is history. Believe it or not, that is how it was discovered. Anyway, In Tanzania, they did not have a plan. And what is happening now is that human rights organizations and other interested parties and those powerful global political watu wa homa ya mchina who want to get hold of the riches within Tanzania, they have all ganged up and financed something that is unearthing evidence, very specific. They're actually mentioning places and locations where this mass, makaburi, where people are buried, they're exposing exactly where they are. Now, I think it is very obvious what that means politically for the government of President Samia Hassan. To spell it out, kwisha maneno. It is only a matter of time. Indeed, I am very reliably informed that the ICC at The Hague, the International Criminal Court, are already on this one. They're already on this one. So it is only a matter of time. And you see, the government in Tanzania is still blindly rushing forward. The internet, of course, is still switched off, and therefore they believe they cannot be seen, and they're rushing blindly forward. Opposition leaders are being arrested, etc., etc. They're continuing with their program without even stopping for a minute to assess what has happened so far. Can we change the plan, or is the plan still sound? It is a disaster. Anyway, and let us not even talk about who executed this and how it links very closely to the country called Uganda and even Kenya. Make sure you catch that video, my previous video, with that information. Because in there, I made a prediction that what is going to happen only because of this foreign involvement in Tanzania, leave alone the other many things, ambayo itasindikisha. No, leave those ones. Mainly because of this one, we're going to get a change of regime in the following order: Tanzania, Uganda, and then finally Kenya. Okay? Hold me to that prediction. And you'll be happy to know, regulars here already know, that I don't run away from the predictions I make. Contrary to what some government bloggers are writing in the comments area of most of my videos. I don't. I'll come back and I'll say I was wrong. Okay? So hold me to that one. I have a terrible, nagging feeling that I am absolutely right. And that mahesabu yangu yanaingiana. That is what's going to happen. Anyway, let's get on with our main topic for today. The tsunami, which is already here, of independent candidates.
Yep. So let me get this straight. You're telling me I don't have to spend countless hours consolidating our company's financial data anymore? It's all automated?
Now, when Kenyans were fighting the Kanu regime, it was not possible in our motherland for an independent candidate to present themselves in an election. All that changed with the new constitution. Okay? And of course, it is true, we're yet to see independent candidates making an impact in any general election in Kenya. But now, the environment and the circumstances favor an independent candidate. Okay, let me break that down. This should excite us. Why? Because if this tsunami of independent candidates actually happens, it is the best way to beat the system. I'm going to go into that immediately after we've broken down this. Okay? Now, currently in Kenya, there is no successful popular political party. Are we in agreement? ODM, you know what happened. the founder and the party leader, left us recently. And you can see what is going on within the party. There is a lot of panic. There is upheaval. People are now realizing that it is not very easy to get the masses behind them. Because the glue that was holding the political party called ODM together is gone. It's as simple as that. The really UDA party. When is the last time you heard of the UDA party positively? In fact, what is happening right now, many UDA members are doing their politics while making every effort to distance themselves from that name UDA or from any association with the UDA. That is very clear. Bottom line, the era of waves caused by political parties is clearly over. Okay? What wave am I talking about? Let's explain everything so that nobody is left in any doubt. The wave of political parties is where a major presidential candidate has a political party behind them, and people in that political party, mainly because of that presidential candidate. And usually it is tied to tribal politics. Okay? That era, kwisha maneno. I think that should be clear to everybody. In case you have not noticed, the Kenyan voter amepelekwa shule bila viatu. The Kenyan voter has been taught a lesson they will not forget in a hurry. That when you vote for somebody, there are consequences. There have always been consequences. But the consequences this time, taxation like there is no tomorrow. The government not listening and not caring and doing their own things. And this is the political class, walitupanga, they put us in compartments for their benefit. You know what happens during past general elections in Kenya? They incited tribe against tribe for their own benefit. And then, very important, they ensured that they have the right majority in parliament to pass bills, very unpopular ones, like Finance Bill 2023 and the tragic Finance Bill 2024. Remember? And many other laws that don't make sense. Many laws that are in fact unconstitutional. Okay?
All right, so listen up. State Farm was trying to charge me $197 for car insurance. No, thank you. I got a friend who told me about this website. And now I'm spending $50.
When you have independent candidates who the people have interrogated carefully and are watching carefully, countrywide, it becomes impossible, very difficult for the executive to get his majority in parliament to pass whatever laws they feel like. Okay? Now, of course, the executive can decide to use money, and buy MPs and buy his majority in parliament. But that is going to be highly unlikely. You see, it is much easier when you have a party and everybody's under that umbrella. You just have a parliamentary group meeting, and you sort out things quickly. But when you have independent individual candidates dominating the National Assembly, the whole game changes. Kabisa. Yes, you may be able to buy a few, but then also remember that the voters who have voted in that individual are watching them very carefully. And of course, they have learned from the past, and this is the thing they will really, really be looking out for. They will constantly be asking themselves and each other, has our MP been bought yet? And so, it will be extremely difficult. And guess what? Then, our constitution will kick in and start working the way it is supposed to be working. Which, in case you've forgotten, Parliament is supposed to be oversight over the executive, not receiving instructions from State House. No! That's the old system, which our political class are stuck within their minds. To them, there is no other way of governing. There is no other way. Well, breaking news for them, there is another way. It happens in other democracies across the globe. Okay? Now, admittedly, the sign that this is coming may be difficult to see in the upcoming by-elections because there's so many issues there. Government has poured in money, the seats are few, etc., etc. But we have quite a number of independent candidates. And therefore, I'm not expecting those independent candidates to do well. Okay? I may be wrong. They may surprise me. But the way I'm reading the politics on the ground over these by-elections, it's a do or die for some people. They have to give the perception that they're still popular, that they're still a party, a political party. They have to give that perception when everybody knows UDA kwisha maneno. Yeah? I don't think even President Ruto is going to vie in 2027 on a UDA ticket. No, he's going to do a Kibaki. Kibaki abandoned DP and vied for the 2007 presidential election with a brand new party called PNU. And therefore, this desperation to create an impression is going to muddy the water so much that we're not going to be able to get a clear picture from the by-elections. But I am certain in the next general elections, whenever that will be, it will be dominated by independent candidates. I don't know if you've noticed, even in current politics, parties are not as important as they were before. Okay? The media and even analysts are focusing more on the individual. Former Chief Justice David Maraga, what party does he belong to? Even former CS Interior, Matiang'i, of course he belongs to the Jubilee Party. But how are people discussing him and looking at him? They're looking at him as an individual called Matiang'i, who is backed not by Jubilee, but is backed by another individual called Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I'm sure you get my drift. It is going to be a tsunami for independence. And I believe already our politics is swinging in that direction. But let's wait and see what happens. Shall we?
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
You know, in my opinion, the last nail on the coffin of party politics was the passing on of ODM founder and leader, Raila Amolo.
Yeah, that is the kicker. So I think he is reacting that we are now in the new dispensation in Kenya. It's not business as usual. You might want to be in UDA, you might want to be in DCP, you might want to be in ODM, but he's saying independence could be more likely to get a face shift than usual. So, Julia Distoni PK, I think you can react to that as we close the show. Do you think Chris Kumekucha is able to see it, or you have a different analogy on the new popularity in Kenya? You think the independent candidates are the new hot front? Do you agree or you don't agree?
Yeah, that may happen because especially in regions like Mount Kenya region, I think there will be a lot of independent candidates. So parties should not assume that they have the monopoly. And uzuri wa Kenya, I think wanaendelea kujua their rights. And probably he could also have said that we may have a lot of more young people winning a lot of seats, and that will be beneficial to Kenya. So I agree with Kumekucha. That's a most likely scenario. Because Kenyans, as this go, like, irrespective of kama kwamba Kasongo is still abusing human rights, infringing the constitution of Kenya and all that. I think as far as information is concerned, Kenyans are more informed about their rights and they are quick to speak out more than other countries in the region. So, because of that, that is why we are more likely to have more independent candidates, which will be beneficial to Kenya for a while before we have these party umbrellas that decide they can be bought by whoever wants to buy them. Yeah, I agree with that, Njiru. Maybe I don't know what PK has to say.
Thank you, Julia. You know, there are quite a number of things that are going to happen or that are happening in Kenya. The the stages. I remember when we were learning about metamorphosis. You know, the stages of from pupa to what to butterfly and all that. Now, political metamorphosis has reached its maturity in Kenya, and it is gonna be very brutal. It culminated on June by the Gen Z. That was just one of the metamorphoses that culminated on that day. But there are several. The other one that is coming and it's actually on is what Chris is saying, and the independent candidate metamorphosis or that stage is coming in as a result of very bitter realization by Kenyans. And this is where the Swahili saying inasemanga mjinga akierevuka basi nani tajiri atakuwa amini mwerevu atakuwa mashakani. You see, it is so bitter that Kenyans have realized that parties are nonsense. They have nothing to do with you and me as mwananchi wa kawaida. And the moment that realization came, the dynasties are in danger. The shopkeepers, because parties are kiosks, they are companies, limited companies. They are cash cows for whoever runs to begin it, to start one. So that reality has come. And unfortunately, most people didn't see that coming. Even these politicians, they didn't see that coming, because if you look at the UDA, what is it about? I mean, that is one of the most disappointing party to Kenyans. One, it comes and destroys the economy. Okay, people ride in it. That is the first time you start having those things called togeges, the mundigis, and the rest. So Kenyans, with the majority people now being fairly literate, you can't tell them to vote in the forthcoming elections. A Mundigi, because he's in a party in brackets being called popular. That's why, like for me, I'm not enthusiastic about these DCPs and all that, because they will wither. They will wither, and that's why, like there was a time I was saying, let Gachagua tone down on trying to whip people into his party, because what people are seeing now is not about Kasongo being removed. We are seeing somebody opening a wholesale shop, and he wants to have as many customers as possible so that he can even have personal power to bargain things. And people have even analyzed and say that he wants to be a Baba man, which to some extent could be true, because Baba had this permanent shop called ODM or NDP or anything, but he had his customers. I mean, his stock. His stock was his strong tribe of Luo Nyanza. Okay, so he could go peddling that load or to whoever is willing to buy, and that would be his bargaining power. So the Kenyans have realized that the parties have screwed them up. The parties are only, benefiting individuals, like when they start saying this party is owed this amount of billions and all that, and then when they realize, even when Kasongo won, the people moved. Okay, the people moved from the parties to join this other party, and they did not follow the law, because initially you are supposed to resign from this party to this. So Kenyans have seen hiyo matope that I would say it's a stupid game. Luckily now, so no one will come saying that because Stone PK is in our party, you must elect him. No. So people have shifted to characters. Okay, that if we want Stone PK, no matter what party you are coming with, unaambiwa sikiza what we are saying. So you will have to listen to the people. It's the people who will tell you, if you really want your party to have a candidate, we have a candidate already. So it's not the party that will be taking candidates to the people. The people will take candidates to the party if they so wish. But again, these candidates, most of the candidates that are coming up today are more elite. They even would prefer. I, for one, would prefer being an independent candidate, if any, given any time. Okay, but again, sometimes because you have to go with the synergies that are on the ground. That's why you may find people joining, parties, not because they believe in them. Nobody believes in parties in Kenya anymore. Hakuna. And that's why I strongly, agree with Chris Kumekucha that this wave, this time around, huwezi sikia mtu akienda akwambia. Kwanza I laugh at these guys fanatics, hao watu wana pretend at ODM you stand saying ODM as if it's is a jewel, as if it's a very sweet fruit and all this kind of a thing. Nobody is interested. And I'm happy, so happy that even that priest was saying, you people in Nyanza, you keep on praising and singing about this and that. What is it that you have gotten, even from the party itself? Can you really give us 2, 3, 4 things that the party has given? All what you have is people being elected in that party and going to loot the country. So it is true. And I would also, kind of wish that Kenyans continue to be pushed into that. And I'm happy for Chris to really give that analysis very, very strong points. And yeah, this is the narrative should be. Like in our place, we are saying Torenda Mondo. We want character. That's what people are saying. Character, 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 character. Yeah, we don't want to be told about the party, because hakuna kitu kama ni borehole inachimbwa, we shall not see a party coming to chimba that borehole. We will see a character, a person, a human being that we will have elected is the one we will ask questions. You don't ask parties questions. And I'm seeing the life of parties shortening. And that's why personally, I don't mind even having a totally different kind of approach. We start having coalitions, because coalitions is the route to killing those parties. Parties dying, and dominance will be, cooled down when parties have to join together in order to rule. I'm really looking forward to that, and I'll cherish, to see where one party cannot boast, to rule, where they go boasting that we are the majority, we have this kind of number of seats. I'm looking forward to when we'll have 2, 3, 4 parties having to come together to be able to govern the country. Giro.
Okay, sawa. Stone PK.
Giro, I wanted you to
I
play
have
a
no
sample
addition.
of the time. Giro, I wanted you to play I wanted you to play a sample of the kind of leaders that are emerging in Africa and in the world towards proper towards proper governance. Sijui kama uliona hiyo clip ya Duma wa Botswana akielezea what he has engaged to to get the corrupt. If you don't have it, we can do it tomorrow. In tomorrow's show.
Yeah. We will do it tomorrow when I have more time. Ni sawa, nimeelewa. That one is well taken care of. I have noted it. Yeah, so nataka nifunge show sasa ili sasa tuende kwa mambo ingine. I was expecting Alex, but I can see Alex has gone. So I think Alex will have to come and join tomorrow. Anyway, ni sawa. Nimeshukuru and thank you for everybody who has joined our show tonight. It was one of the lovely one. We have discussed a lot. Let's be of good character. Even as we talk about injecting Ruto out of power, we should be the people who should be having good character. So, nimeshukuru for your consciousness and your availability here tonight. So, mimi sina la ziada. Tupataneni kesho. Majaliwa. Thank you and bye.